All right. Mics are hot. Yep.
Would you rather fight a giant mosquito one time and get your ass whipped by it? Or do you like the relationship that you have and never get bit again? Or do you like the relationship that you have with mosquitoes right now?
And gotta find the right way to remember how to start this thing, and it's this button. Yes, that's right. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Big Brother 21 season. Very excited for our live draft. Here we are. It is Wednesday. I think it's June 19th, and we are ready to go with the cast of Big Brother 21. We have assembled the finest Big Brother minds around to go through and predict and preview everything that's going on in this Big Brother 21 season. Let's go around the horn and meet the panel here tonight. First, let's bring in a man that I talked to the other day about the season, who's getting ready in about 1 week's time to kick off the live feed season officially. Please welcome the robot, Mr. Taran Armstrong. Taran, how are you?
Doing very well, Rob. Very, very excited to be here for Big Brother 21. Very excited to kick the season off with a big draft.
Big draft. We'll see what happens. Somebody who was panicking all day today, seemed very nervous about the draft. I'm very excited to be back talking with the great Melissa Deni. Melissa, how are you?
You're right about the panicking. I am very, very overwhelmed and nervous this time because I just feel like my calibration is totally off because of these past couple seasons where everything that I would think would happen and everyone who I think would do well or not well turned out to be the complete opposite. So now I'm starting to look for things that I normally would hate, and I'm very lost and confused, but I'm very, very excited to get the season started. I've been so pumped.
Okay. All right. And then let's welcome in a man who's so tapped in, knows all, is the new real Vegas for sure. Please welcome Mr. Brent Wolgamott. Brent, how are you?
Maybe I was always the real Vegas for sure.
I guess that would not be surprising.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm very excited for this. Melissa, why are you stressing about this? I was out of the draft. I think it was like a world record last season of Big Brother Canada. It was 4 weeks in. You only get 4 people. They had a double eviction, and somehow I was out of the draft. And
that's exactly what I'm trying to avoid.
It was okay. I mean, I still was chilling on the side, like laughing at y'all. So I think I learn from me a little bit.
Okay.
Like you win some and then you got to give some back.
All right. So we're going to go through all 16 of these new players. We're going to have our official draft. It's going to be an order that will be revealed to us shortly. We'll go through. We'll talk what we like, what we don't like about all of these people as we go through. Should be a lot of fun as we count down just 6 days until the Big Brother 21 premiere coming up on Tuesday night on CBS. And so the countdown is on, and I'm very excited to be back with everybody for another what I hope to be a very fun summer of Big Brother. Melissa, did you have any first impressions on the cast?
I really like the cast. I was really impressed. I feel like that's part of the reason why I'm struggling a lot is because I feel like everyone's kind of on an equal playing field this time, whereas normally I'm so used to having like at least 5 contestants who I'm just like, no. And this time there's only like maybe 1, maybe 2 where I was like, I don't want to pick this person. Whereas like I can see the good in most of the people that are there. So I'm very impressed with the cast, and I really have enjoyed the interviews. I think I've kind of given up on the idea of like having a house full of super fans. So the fact that most of these people are recruits didn't really get to me this time around because I was expecting that. So yeah.
Yeah. On that note, something that I had been thinking about watching this was it does seem like that they pulled in a lot of people who didn't know the show particularly well. Brent, do you think that the people who are going into the house really understand the live feeds? Of the 16 people going into the house, I feel like that maybe 2 of them know about the live feeds.
I'd say that's probably pretty accurate. I really did sense that I felt like there were more obvious recruits on this season, more than I have noticed in past seasons, or maybe they were just better able to fool me in past seasons. There are people on my list that I have just written, no way in hell am I picking them unless there's like other no way people left on the draft board. So I think that they don't really understand exactly what they're getting into, and they may be able to fall prey to some lies about the live feeds. Like, like they don't show that on the show, or they'll edit that out, or but no, we see all.
Taran, in your professional opinion, do people not knowing really the ins and outs of the live feeds lead to better live feeds or worse live feeds?
In my opinion, it's worse. I think that the more knowledge you have, the more potential you have, and the more crowded the house is with people with more knowledge, the more potential that the whole house is going to be utter chaos, which is always very, very fun. I will say that these are recruits, but a lot of them I do feel like have put the time in to watch a fair amount of seasons. A lot of them were like, I'm a recent fan, which normally means I watched it in sequester. But a lot of these people have been like, no, like I watched 10 seasons in the last year, or I watched, a bunch of these seasons I've been studying up. So I hope that we at least get halfway there.
Okay.
Yeah, they did seem way more nervous and like ashamed to say that they were new fans this year, whereas normally it's like, no, I'm a super fan, I just started watching. And then now this year they're like, so I know not to say I'm a super fan, but I'm a more recent fan. And I had to be like, it's okay, hey, you could say that. Like, it's kind of funny that it's been like shamed out of them now.
Okay. Well, we'll find out who actually knows their stuff in just a couple months' time as we get ready to kick off Big Brother 21. A quick announcement before we get going. Let me go ahead and give you some quick news.
Breaking news are happening now.
I'm very excited to announce that we will have a special guest with us here on the eviction shows this season. That our great friend Caitlin Herman will be with me in studio for all of the Thursday eviction shows that she is here in Los Angeles. So we're very excited to announce that here tonight, and I hope to have many, many Big Brother guests with us here along the way on Rob is a Podcast, live after every episode of the show. How about that?
That is so exciting.
Yes.
That is amazing.
We've manifested it. So she's very excited.
She is so good. She is such a good podcast guest.
Yes. She recently, much like Taran Armstrong, appeared on the Big Brother Brothers podcast
I
this
listened
week.
to those.
Yes. And
they both did so well.
Yes. She's super into it. So I'm hoping that for the Big Brother 20 people, that now they get to, be in on the fun of talking about everything that's going on here with this new cast of characters. Okay, Taran, can you talk us through how this draft order is going to go?
So basically, before Big Brother Canada started, I said, hey, I took about a year off from always winning, and I decided, I'll turn the winning back on. And so I won the Big Brother Canada 7 draft and the Stock Watch. So now I am choosing the order that we are going to be drafting in here. It's going to be a snake draft, as we usually do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you have to have the winner on your team. That's how the draft works.
The only thing we care about tonight.
Yeah. Yes. So I did tell Rob in the Cast Reactions podcast that I would turn the winning off, so that I'll let people be capable of winning this one. I still might win. Sometimes you can't help yourself. But I'm gonna.
Was
that
that what
you
did last year when you took Winston number 1?
Yeah, I was look, other people needed to win. People were starting to get sad, get mad. You can't be undefeated always.
You can take Winston again this year if you want.
Is he there?
He's there.
Winston
Yes,
2.0.
All right, so I'm gonna have to choose the order here, and I wanted to ask Rob, what number would you prefer?
Is it multiple choice?
Of 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I would prefer number 2.
Okay. Then.
Then.
All right. I feel a little bit bad about this, but I might have to do it here. I think I'm gonna have to make Melissa.
No, I knew it. No, I asked you. No. No.
Yeah, whining is not good podcasting.
No, see, this. I'm doing the Ica thing. I have to do the sad face.
Are you pretending to be sad?
Please don't put me on the block.
I don't think she's pretending.
Yeah.
Maybe this is all strategy. Maybe I wanted to be first.
Maybe she did. All right. Well, because you want it, I'm gonna give you number 1. Rob is gonna be number 2. I'll be number 3, and Brent will be number 4.
All right.
Okay.
I could never have predicted that. I have to say that thing. You know what that tells me? That tells me how you have no confidence in my drafting abilities. That you really don't fear me, Taran.
Hey, straight snake the whole way through.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, curvy snake.
Yeah, curvy snake.
Got it. But no shenanigans with the final round or anything. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Bad. This is exactly what I didn't want, because I have a feeling. You want to know why? It's because I have a feeling that I'm going to be made so fun of for my first pick. And so I was like,
pick them.
Well, I was like, I want to pick them. But I was like, at least if I'm not first, then it's like they're not the first draft pick. It's like, oh, Melissa just maybe her favorites were already taken, and now this is why she's picking this person. Like, so I could justify it if it goes really wrong.
But we don't know anything,
we
make fun and laugh, like, oh, that was such a dumb pick. And you had people like Anthony, who fell super far in the Big Brother Canada draft, and then JC was a last round pick last season. So we really don't know anything.
That was part of the reason, Melissa, that I was on board with doing just one big night with a draft and / cast assessment all in one night, because we've done 2 nights or 3 nights in the past, and we've been horribly wrong, really terribly wrong, and there's no point in stretching that wrongness out over a couple night period. We might as well get it all over with in one night.
We're just here to have fun, Melissa.
Yeah, sure. Tell that to Taran.
No, he's not here to have fun.
I always have fun.
Yeah, because you win every time.
This is serious. This is serious.
Okay, Melissa.
All right, wait. So what's the order? It's me first.
Then Rob, then Taran. Then me.
Okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah.
Well, geez. I'm gonna pick a person who I personally at first was like, absolute no. And even my mom was like, absolute no. I was like, we're on the same page. And then I saw the Ica interview, and I really turned around on her, and I really like this person. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I just think, and I can explain more afterwards, but I kind of just feel like I just want to go with it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I have a good feeling about this person, and I'm picking Catherine.
Okay.
Oh boy.
There we go.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
I'm just doing it.
I was banking on Brent picking Catherine.
Yeah, well, that's me. I picked her. I did not like her at first. I don't like the whole social media thing. I felt like her interview with Jeff was
Aspiring
like
influencer, Catherine.
Right. I felt like her interview with Jeff was just not great, and I didn't like her. But at the same time, Jeff does not bring out the best in people, so we had to keep that in mind. Then we move on to the Ika interview, and I felt like she was super personable. I felt like a lot of people said she talked too much. Well, I talked too much, and I liked it. I was entertained by her. I thought that she had a good sense of the game. I liked all the stuff I was hearing from her. I will say that the caveat here is I'm a little confused about her answers to has she been watching the show, because to Jeff and like on paper, she had said like, I'm not super familiar. I can't really pick a favorite. And then to Ika, she said she's been watching since the beginning, but her answer was super cryptic in that it was like, well,
and a lot of Big Brother 20
everything.
stuff.
Since 2000.
Yeah, she said I've grown up alongside it, essentially, which, like, to be fair, that is true. Even if you haven't watched it, you've grown up alongside it because it started a long time ago and now it's still going.
Guess so.
It doesn't mean you would have watched it. And so I guess it's like, maybe it's the kind of way that like I grew up alongside like The Sopranos, but like I never have seen it, but I've heard things about it, and I've seen a couple episodes.
You should watch
here and
it.
there. And I really want to watch The Sopranos, but like I think that might be it. But it was a weird, cryptic way of answering, and then saying like, well, like since 2000, like it sounded like she read it off a Wikipedia page or something. Mm-hmm. So I didn't like that answer, but then I did like the fact that she talked about making other people's ideas, like making other people think that your ideas are their ideas, and that is something that I've thought like all along would be like is like a great strategy, and it's time and again tested as a great strategy. We've got Derek using that strategy, Tyler using that strategy, etc. And I think she has Janelle potential. I feel really worried to say that,
cannot.
but I think she does.
I can't. Oh my god.
Okay. Who was the lowest on Catherine on the panel? Who had her the furthest?
Probably me.
Probably Taran. Okay.
I mean, I have her at 12.
Okay, I actually did like her. So Taran, can you give us the case against Catherine?
Okay, so Catherine, it's funny that Melissa mentioned it's like she read it off of a Wikipedia page, because that's how I felt about a lot of her answers to Ika. In particular, the stuff about like, well, I have to make sure other people think it's their idea. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the goal. And she also said, like, I want to try to get people to talk about themselves. And it felt like she read a quick, like, bullet point explanation of like what Big Brother is and like baseline strategy.
She read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Exactly. Well, and also like
I think that's impressive.
Well, it's better than nothing for sure. But also, as you mentioned, she said that she's been watching since 2000, and yet all of her answers to any specific questions were about Big Brother 20. Except she said, "Well, I did like Janelle. People have told me that I could be like Janelle." And it just felt like I don't know. Like I don't think she's really. It doesn't feel like she's really watched the show. It felt like she read up slightly about the show and like on a very basic level. And I do like that. And I do like Catherine. I'm excited to see her on the show. I think that she might be a lot of fun. But I don't have a ton of faith in her. Her interview with Jeff was very strange. She was like flirting with him, but also it was a very awkward interview. She doesn't want to throw any competitions. She wants to go and win as many as she can. She seems very athletic, so she probably will be able to win a decent amount of them. Although if she has been watching Big Brother since 2000 and all of her answers came at Big Brother 20, she probably doesn't have a great memory, so maybe she won't win many of them. But yeah, it was tough for me, and I was not super high on her chances to win the game.
Okay, Brent, I know you're down on Catherine as well.
Here's the thing. I'm down on Catherine overall. I agree with Melissa that it's like The Sopranos, or like for me, The Bachelor, where like it's happening around me and I grew up around it. Like I remember being like 20 and The Bachelor was on. So I remember it. And I can say, well, I've grown up with it. But no, I don't really know much about The Bachelor. I might know something it's in the pop culture veneer, so I might know something about it. But I don't really know about it. Like, I think, like, her first answer was correct in that she doesn't own a television. She doesn't know about Big Brother. So that's bad. However, it's amazing that you picked this person first, because of the people in the cast, this is probably the person that I have the most like inside information about. Catherine is a friend of mine who I have talked to for a very long time, and I knew that Catherine was going to be cast on the show like 3 weeks ago. This is the thing that's working in your favor, Melissa. The little bit of tea that I have for you guys, and I have a little bit of other tea about something else, is that Catherine is not only really good friends with Holly, who is also in this cast, but they have known that they are in finals together and or locks for being cast together on the show, and have been actively working together as a pair going into the house. So they are going to work together, I have to believe, because, and this is crazy to me, because you think that it's going to be like some sort of duo season or rival season. From what I'm hearing, you guys, it's not. It's not going to be BB6. It's not going to be BB4. Like, that's all of our hopes and dreams. It's not going to be that. There is no twist. It's just, I hate to say it. It's sloppy casting. And it's not just sloppy casting. It's like casting where they even knew about this and didn't really give an F. So I'm kind of like annoyed by that. But she does have somebody in the cast that she knows and trusts. And the other thing that I wanted to tell you is, I don't know if you know this or not, but Christy is an alternate on this cast. She actually wasn't going to originally be there. There was another woman who was going to be there named Jenna Jackson, who was she was actually going to be on the previous season of Big Brother, but she also got cut on that one. And the reason that she got cut, Jenna Jackson, was because her name got leaked in the media. You want to know who had something to do with her name being leaked in the media? Catherine. Catherine is already playing Big Brother. She intentionally leaked her rival's name because she did not want her on the show.
Allegedly on all of this.
Allegedly.
And not.
Why, look, she's playing the game. She's cutthroat.
Well, the reason I can reveal is because the show is off and running at this point.
Yeah, but you're also disparaging somebody, and we don't have.
Rob!
You're saying you're putting a rumor out there that we don't know.
They're friends on Facebook.
That's fine, but
that's public knowledge.
But let's also, in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. So that these are very highly charged things that you're saying. So let's just take it.
Well, I mean, like, I feel like what I'm saying is, like, she's got onto the show with a friend. Casting knew about it. They didn't really care. And now she gets the chance to work.
But you're also saying that she knew a third person in the cast as well?
She does. And yes, she did. And I think there's actually somebody else in the cast that she might have some history with as well. But, like, I don't know that for sure, so I don't want to tell you that because you don't want me to put rumors out.
I definitely do not.
This sounds like a very strategic player. So I'm loving my pick.
I'm telling you that this woman is set up with multiple alliances, and in spite of how bad she is at the game, Melissa might actually get lucky here, and she might actually go far simply because of how many people she knows in the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, all I'm saying is that this could either be a situation where everyone's like, haha, Melissa, you suck. Or it's a situation where like, whoa, everybody, Melissa called this one. So, I mean, look, I picked Anthony and I said like, hey, I didn't think his interview with Iko was that bad. And everyone else was like, Melissa, you're crazy.
All right. You were back and forth about Anthony versus mystery guest.
True. I did say that to everybody. That's why I'm coming out strong here. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick this girl because I don't want to have a situation like this one where Taran can be like, hey, you were wishy-washy. I'm all in.
Okay.
All right.
Melissa,
I love that.
Catherine said that she was not going to look for a showmance in the house. So are you buying that? And Brent, is she married to anybody already in the house?
I'm very hopeful that she sticks to that because I don't want a showmance person. But you know what? This is what happened with Jess Graff, where we were like, she doesn't want a showman. She's going in. And then all of a sudden the feeds come up and she's in bed with Cody. And we're like, no.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's what is exactly going to happen, especially when you have somebody like Jackson on the cast, when you have somebody like Jack on the cast. We have some really, really like Jack is one of the most amazingly good-looking guys I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't even go for that whole Aquaman long hair kind of look. But he is phenomenal. Like ridiculously hot. I can't believe that somebody's not going to get with him in the cast. Like, that's why he's there. Come on.
Okay. All right. Anything else we want to say about first pick overall, Catherine?
No, I've heard that she's a little catty and she might be too loyal for her own good. So I put her in the category of like Rachel Swindler or Natalie Negrati. That would probably be where I would.
Brett,
put
does
her.
your source like Catherine or not like Catherine?
Oh yeah, and I will say that the person that I know, who I've been friends with for a while, has like coached this person, Catherine, on how to play the game. I don't know how well Catherine has listened, but they have been coached in that, like, hey, if you see somebody like, who hasn't been on the block by week 8, that means they probably have deals with everybody, like, JC, Tyler, except for the hacker twist, Danielle, Jason, somebody who you are friends with, that everybody's friends with, basically that everybody mourns possibly being on the block. Get that person out, because they're probably lying to you. So I'm hoping that she has a little bit of smarts.
Brent, you're making me like my pick more and more.
I know, right?
That begs the question, Brent. Is she really a fan of the show? Has she been watching since 2000? Do you know this?
Of course not. No, she hasn't been watching. She doesn't even own a television. She doesn't even, I mean, she cares about Big Brother in that I care about, like, The Bachelor. Like, it's part of my universe, but I don't touch that part of the universe unless they grabbed me and said, Brent, we're going to do a gay version of The Bachelor. Come on, we need you. Like, I mean, like, otherwise I'm not going to be there. So I feel like that's what happened.
I'm starting to feel better about recruits after Anthony. So that's like
Anthony's a diamond in the rough, I feel
but you know what I mean? Like that's I've started to soften on my opinion that, like, you must be a super fan. If you haven't ever seen the feeds, then, like, you're out of here.
No, it's a good point, because you're just as likely to be a super fan and to spin out of control as a super fan as you are to be a recruit who knows nothing and then ends up getting embarrassed. So we've seen plenty of people who are recruits come in and learn the game on the fly. The game is not that complicated.
On the other hand, I can't remember the last time a recruit won the game.
Yeah, but it's been close. It's been real close,
But Brent, so did this person, when they coached her up, did they tell her to pretend that she'd watched the show, to say that she knew about Janelle, and that she should try to get other people to think that things were their idea?
I don't know where that came from,
because that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but the person that I'm friends with, I believe in their ability to give them some solid advice, not perfect advice, but solid advice that should at least get her through a few weeks of Big Brother. That said, I did not respond positively to her interviews. I thought she sounded extremely fake. I feel like she's the model that might go out in week 2. I don't feel good, but some of this other stuff that is allegedly in the universe might save her, Melissa. So good job on that.
Okay. All right.
And I didn't even know that stuff.
You didn't even know that. Exactly.
All right. I have the number 2 pick overall. And I'm going to go with somebody that I feel pretty good about. And let's see how you all feel. But he is also somebody who is in the house who seems to have some connection to another person that is going to be in the house with him from Staten Island, New York. I'm going to go with Tommy Bracco, no relation to Lorraine Bracco from Melissa's favorite, The Sopranos.
I was going to say.
Or Aubrey Bracco, but we're not going to talk about that tonight, Brent.
We love Aubrey. Go on with Aubrey.
Yes. Okay.
I love Aubrey.
Tommy Bracco wants to come on and be the Italian mom in the house. I love.
I just wrote Aubrey on my paper.
Tommy.
He
is a big fan of the show. Also seems to be connected to Gina Marie somehow, which I don't know, hopefully is not his Big Brother mentor. But he is somebody who is going to be, he's in incredible shape, but he's non-threatening. I think he's going to get along great with the women in the house, with the men in the house. Although he loves Davon, this is number 1 Big Brother star of all time. But I did like that he said that Davon always knew what was going on, but she didn't know what to do about it. And he felt like that he's going to be able to know what to do about it. He's going to put his spin on the truth. So I feel like there's a lot to like about Tommy Bracco, including the fact that, according to at least documented tagged posts, that he is at least friendly with one of the other cast members on the show.
Yes, I love Tommy. He was I can tell you he was my number 2 on my draft board, and a lot of that came out in his Ica interview. I liked what he had to say about Devon, loving her as a character, understanding her flaws as a player. I liked how he was self-deprecating, saying, I'm oblivious. I'm going to get lied to. I'm not going to know what's happening in the house. I liked that. If he is that in the house, I think that that's going to come off as fairly genuine. He just wants to spin the truth. He doesn't want to blatantly lie to people. I like that. And he said that enemies aren't bad.
Yes.
Having a public enemy is very good. I've never heard a player voice that other than like Godfrey. I think that that's an incredible thing for a player to have recognized. It's something that I've been saying for a long time. And the fact that he thinks on that level means that I have a lot of faith in his ability strategically in the house. And he clearly is a very social person and somebody who is very capable of getting along with a lot of different people. So I really, really liked all of that stuff. And, there were a lot of, Ica, when Ica does these interviews, she has them, fake laugh and fake cry and all of that stuff. And it can be really awkward, but he handles those situations really well. And so I really, really liked him, especially in his Ica interview. And I think that he has a great chance to do well here.
Okay. Anybody down on Tommy?
I like Tommy a lot. I think he seems really friendly and fun, and I think he'll get along with a lot of people. And I did like his idea, like what you guys said about Devon and why he likes her. Like when you see that, oh, Devon's my favorite player, you think, oh, it's just because she's, loud and funny and out there. But then when he explains why he likes her, it makes you understand it more and be like, oh, I get why she's his favorite. And he also mentioned, didn't he mention, who else?
Jessica Graff also.
Yes.
Another favorite.
And yes. And then, so I did like that. The one thing that I was concerned about was him talking about how oblivious he is. I don't really want a player that's oblivious. I feel like when he said that, if it's not the truth and he's just saying that to be self-deprecating, then it's like, okay, great. But he was kind of saying that in a way that like, oh, I'm not going to have any idea what's going on in the house. I'm not going to be able to notice anything that's happening around me, which makes me a little nervous that he's not going to be very observant. And maybe he would know what to do with the information, but he won't get that information. And so that was a little concerning. I like that he talked about spinning the truth rather than lying, because that really is a lot of what the game calls for. But he is a little much, and I'm just a little worried that he might be a little too much. Hopefully it's just the right amount of much. So,
yeah. So we'll see with Tommy. And then, Brent, could you reset the Christy connection with Tommy?
Yeah, this is crazy to me because, again, Christy is an alternate on this show. She was not supposed to be on. She was put on Monday, and the thing, or Sunday night, actually. And the thing to me is that they knew that these two were friendly, and they still are very friendly. I mean, there's some people in the chat that think, oh, well, maybe like she broke up with his aunt, and so maybe it's a bad breakup. No, they're still very good friends, and this is publicly available knowledge. And it's not even like a friend of a friend. Like, they're direct friends. All you have to do is put it into your Instagram or Facebook, and you can see that they're friends. It's not something that's hard. So Cassie knew about this. Again, put them in the house, didn't care. So make of that what you will. But I've heard that there is no twist coming that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, there's obviously a twist in every season of Big Brother, but there is no duo twist coming is what I'm trying to put down.
But if it's not officially a twist, but there's a couple of people that have this, is there a difference?
Like Big Brother 8? I guess not. I don't know that it's going to be something that they acknowledge, though. But on the other hand, I don't know that's something that they can avoid if it becomes part of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By the way, I really like Tommy. I have known Tommy Bracco for a while. When he was
as a performer.
As a performer, yeah. Exactly. He played Spot Colin in Newsies, and then I'm a Broadway geek, and so I'm into stuff like the Pretty Woman the musical, and he played the bellhop in that. And he left actually the show for Big Brother because he left like on June 9th, and then obviously ends up on Big Brother here. So I'm hoping it works out for him. I'm really excited for him. I agree with Taran's take when he said the thing about the public enemy. That's what really perked my ears up to a point where I put him in my top tier of people that I would have taken. I'm really excited about him. And he's such a mama's boy. You could see how sweet and kind he was when he was talking about his mom, Annabelle. And I was very into that. I think people will really like it.
Okay. All right. There is Tommy. And now we get to see Taran's number 1 pick is still there on the board for Taran to pick as he sits at number 3. Taran, who is this person?
This person is Ovi. I was really expecting, I was hoping to get at least one of Ovi or Tommy, and I really thought it would be Tommy. But you threw me a curveball right at the end, and you went with Tommy. So I've got Ovi, and I'm very happy with that. I am very, very confident in Ovi. I like him a lot. He does have some, potential pitfalls here that I might be worried about. In particular, he talked about
what are his downfalls?
His downfalls, mosquitoes, social media, and if that will change how he plays the game. But no, he talked about how he is a leader. He was like the president of his student government thing in college. He started a fraternity. I think he's used to being the guy that is like gung-ho, in charge, and he knows that he has to curb that impulse. I don't know if he's going to be capable of it, and I wonder if his natural advantage of not looking particularly threatening will be eliminated by the fact that he is just so gung-ho about things. However, I liked pretty much everything else. I talked about him a little bit on my initial reactions podcast that I did with Rob. He knows the game well. He was introduced to it as a way to study human behavior. I love that. He has clearly, studied the game, studied how people played. He has watched Big Brother Canada. He talked about Damien rapping on Big Brother Canada 7. Hayden is one of his favorite players. I'm sure there is some level of, hey, I want to have some kind of tight secret alliance in his mind. We know that can be a very successful strategy, especially in a house full of people who haven't watched Big Brother Canada 7. So that will be important to watch as we go along. And just overall, he's just a very social guy, a very likable guy. I have a lot of great feelings for Ovi.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, is this the real Ovi that we're getting in these interviews? I feel like he might be a little bit more of a party animal than maybe he's showing to Jeff and Ika.
Party animal?
Yeah, it seems like, look, I'm just being real with you, Rob. Like, I saw Evil Dick's post about, I don't know if you noticed or not.
I can't see Evil Dick's post.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm sorry. As someone who can see Evil Dick's post.
Tell me what it said.
Dick said that this guy is doing something right to have a girlfriend that's hot because his girlfriend is really, really good looking. And Ovi is a cute guy. But I'll just leave it at that. So, he's really living life well if he's able to have that cool of a girlfriend. So I have really positive feelings about him. I'm nervous that he's hiding maybe the more iffier sides of him from the interviews. The one thing I did like about him the most was that he mentioned jury management. I don't remember many people, if anybody, in the history of Big Brother going into an interview with Ika or Jeff who said jury management. The fact that he's even thinking about that at this stage of the game is obviously pretty positive for me. So I'm pretty confident about him. I would have had him in my top 5, but I'm not sure I would have picked him here.
Yes, and there was one more thing I forgot. The jury management was one thing, and certainly nobody else in this cast talked about it. But also his plea to Ika, when Ika does her thing about like, oh, I'm going to put you on the block. His plea to Ika, it gave me hope that he's not going to be the overconfident, leader, party boy, frat guy thing, because he was like, oh, I want to be mentored by you. He really played up the sort of like,
I need to learn from you
role.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so if that is his role in the house, then I have a lot of confidence in him.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. I was a fan of his. He's number 3 on my list. So I like him. The one concern I have is that he's a little young.
Yes, but youngest guy in the house. Most of the other guys are 27, 28. Jackson is 23, but he seems a lot older than
he seems 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently he just turned 24 or something. So he's 24.
Yeah.
But Ovi seems super friendly. It's got a great smile. It would totally, take me in and make me feel comfortable with him. And like, I want to hang out with him. And so I could see him doing really well in the social aspect. The age thing concerns me a little because I just remember last year when we talked about Haley, we were like, she'd be great if she had just come a few years later. But I will say about the age thing that like after going back and rewatching some of the older seasons for our rankings podcast, I realized that like a lot of my favorite players were like way younger than I am now when they're playing.
Right.
So it like freaks me out because it's like Dan's like 24, 25
He was
or
24.
something. I was like, what? Because I always thought he was like 35 when he was playing. But I guess it's because like I was really young when I watched him. And now I'm like watching it and he still looks old to me because he was older than me at the time. It's like one of those things where like, you know, it's weird.
Blew my mind that I'm older than Dan Giesling was on season 10. It blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That was what got to me when I was doing the rewatch. I saw him and he was like, yeah, I'm 24. I was like, what? So yeah, it's very strange to me that I'm like way older than him. But yeah, so the age thing doesn't get to me as much anymore. I feel like this rewatch was very good for me, but the rewatch makes me realize that, you know, just because you're young doesn't mean you can't play a good game. I always thought like, why is Big Brother casting these young people over and over again? They need to cast old people, but they used to do the exact same casting. So I don't know what's different. So
yeah. So I think as a younger person in the house, I do think that he has to come in and sort of like play up the little brother to some of the other people that are in the cast. I'm not sure if he's going to necessarily approach it that way.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, that's his plea to Ica gave me hope. I do think that he is capable of playing it that way, but there is also a maturity to him. You know, he is the youngest guy, I think, on the cast, but he, in some ways, seemed older than some of the other guys. He seems older than Nick to me. He seems older than even he has like a more mature vibe about him than even somebody like Sam does to me. And so I'm hoping that that's not going to be too much of a detriment to him.
Okay. All right. Anything else on Ovi? And then we get to Brent's 2 picks.
Yes,
okay.
I have my 2 picks.
All right, Brent has 2 picks. Are you happy with who is left for you? Did any of your picks get sniped?
I feel like there are about 4 people left that I am really, really positive about, and everyone else is just like disaster territory.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with my fourth pick, my first pick in the draft, but the 4th pick overall. It's going to be Nick. I like Nick. He seems fun. He reminds me of me. Actually, I thought he reminded me of me even before Taran said he reminded me of me. On his Twitch stream. Nick is somebody to me who's like a fan of the show, who actually got on the show. Now, it's true he's only been a fan since like season 17. But, you know, when you're a younger person and you watch something that you're really into, I feel like you can become a fan quickly. I mean, that's certainly how it happened with me. I think I watched Big Brother from the beginning, but I kind of set it down for a little while. Then when I picked it back up again in like, I think season 11, season 12, around the coup d'etat territory of season 11, like it was like, oh my God, I'm so back into this now. And I'm really, really positive about Nick. He is such a fan of the show, but more than anything, I like the way he talks. He seems like he's a little ornery, but I feel like I have said this before about other people like Josh. I feel like he's going to be a little bit of a card in the house, like a joker, but he's going to be their joker. And I do feel like that people are going to respond positively to him. He understands the game to a point where he knows when to back off. I feel like his idea of winning the first HOH is a very good thing for him. He seems like possibly a little bit socially awkward, but I do feel like if he wins the first HOH, which is a long shot, by the way, and also they've released a little bit of information about the first HOH competition, and it seems like it's going to be pretty physical in terms of trying to find your way through a maze and get through whatever backyard setup they have. So I don't know if he can win the first HOH competition, but his plan is to do so, and I think he understands the reason why, because that would set him up well for the rest of the season by making, you know, having people being forced to come to him. So I like Nick, and I am still waiting to see something beyond, oh, he annoys me, that would put me in a direction where I don't think as positively about him.
Okay. Is Nick going to be able to... He seems like that maybe he's kind of outspoken. Like, I don't know if he's going to be able to hold his tongue in the house.
Yeah, I know. That's obviously a drawback. But I try to stick with a way of drafting people where I pick the people that I really like and that I respond positively to. And Nick just had me from the beginning. Like there was no part of me that disliked him. And even though I do recognize some downsides to him, that he's got a little bit of a mouth and he might check people on his shit. Like he was already throwing shade at Matt, the cereal guy from Big Brother 19 during his interview with Jeff, which I thought was great. And like so many people who get on the show don't want to offend the alumni. This guy was not only coming for him, but he also came for Josh during his interview with Ika, I mean, we love Josh. So
He also called Rachel annoying from last season.
Yeah, he called Rachel annoying. Yeah, with Rachel Swindler, and she came for him. Like, girl,
What did she say?
She was just like, who is Nick and who's running his social media and
what's wrong with Nick?
Yeah, I know, right? She says that. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Nick. I liked Nick a lot, especially from his Jeff interview. My initial read on him was that I felt like he had potential as a player. He also had potential as a character, and he could be both, but I think he would definitely be one or the other at the very least. After seeing him with Ika, I leaned a little more toward character than actual player. And the reason is that I felt like he did not give Ika what she wanted. And the whole interview to me seemed a little awkward, a little bit like, especially when she asked him to do the fake laugh, he was kind of like, nah. It was very awkward. He kind of got a little frustrated. It felt like things were a little tense there. Touch and go. Melissa's nodding her head, so I'm not crazy. And so that kind of put me off. That made me think, I wonder if that sort of aggressive, sort of outspoken side will be a little too strong, that it might be a little difficult for him to fit in as much as I would like him to. But I do like that he's a therapist. He's not going to tell people he's a therapist. And he seems to have a very believable lie about it. At least that's what it seems like. I think that the second you say therapist, people are going to be very wary of you. So I don't think you should say therapist. I think this is one of those instances where that's a good call. And I do think that at the very least he's going to be very fun to watch. I think that he's going to play a calling people out kind of game. I think he's going to be making big moves. I think he's going to be fun. I hope he's good, but I'm a little wary.
Yeah, I gotta think that that's why he's there. That I think he's going to end up being a confrontational person in the house, because you have to look at this from the casting perspective of that. With all due respect to Nick, he's not there to be one of our hot guys. He's not the nerd. He's not necessarily the super fan. So what is he? He's sort of like the every guy, but I feel like that's also kind of Sam, but at least Sam is a dad. So I don't know what Nick is other than to be just like a combustible person in the house, Brent.
Yeah, I guess that's a possible way to look at it, but I feel really good, and I'm excited that somebody who actually is a fan of the show that seems to think intellectually about the show is on. The fact that he was, look, here's the thing. I responded more positively to the Ike interview than the two of you. And the reason why was because I liked seeing another side of him. I was like, okay, so you're not the wise guy, wisecracking asshole you were with Jeff the entire time. Like, you can actually tone it down a little bit and be a listener and calm yourself. Like, I was more worried that he wouldn't be able to do that. So the fact that he wasn't always a character made me feel good about his interview with Ike. I admit that it was a little bit awkward, though.
Okay.
I'm a little torn on him because I liked some of the stuff that he was saying. I like that he's a fan of the show. I liked that he mentioned Vanessa, and I like the way he thinks of the game. And I also liked at the end of the interview with Ike where he's like, "You're leaving me already?" I thought that was pretty cute. But
real cute.
Real cute. But at the same time, his rapport with Ika was very interesting, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why something felt strange. But like, it just seemed like even when he was just talking with her, he sounded a little confrontational or maybe like harsh when he was talking. At least, like, I know that if I was on Ika's end of that conversation, I would feel like he was being mean to me, and I wouldn't quite know why, but I just felt like I got that vibe from him. And I'm nervous that when he goes in the house that he's going to maybe put people off even when he doesn't mean to. Another thing that was a little concerning to me was he said he was going to start problems in the house, which I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's a good thing. And also the fact that he said that everyone he meets and his friends and stuff or whoever was like, "You're a therapist," which like me think that, like, why would they be like, you're a therapist? You'd think that there's something weird about that.
I feel like
that
he's the kind of person that if he sees like hypocrisy in the house, he won't be able to not call it out.
Yeah, totally.
I think if he sees somebody eating cereal, he won't be able to not call them out. That seems to be who he is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he could go either way. So I was really torn on him, and it was hard for me to decide. I went from like a solid yes to like a maybe to like a no, I don't know. So now I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I really like him, and I was afraid if I didn't pick him, either 4th or 5th, obviously I get 12th and 13th, on down the line. And by then I feel like we're into the dregs and he's off the board. So I felt like I had to pick him now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so
Sorry.
you're good with Nick. I just want to say before we go too much further, I know we're all leaning very heavily on the Ica interviews. I just want to compliment Queen Ica once again for her outstanding work that was invaluable for our draft research. We salute you, Queen Ica of ET Canada.
And I want to say to the people that have not been, following Big Brother Canada, or maybe even don't know Ica from Big Brother Canada, I had the chance to go to Toronto for the Big Brother Canada 7 finale, and I got to meet Ica, and she was absolutely wonderful and was an essential part of getting me into the backyard for that. So she is very much.
I'm glad you guys are getting along now.
Yeah, yes, very much a friend of the podcast and very, very lovely in person.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all that Taran needs. Like, get him into some secret thing, and he'll be there, for you.
Honestly, I watched Jeff's interviews, and I was just like, okay, but now I want the real interviews. So now when can Ica's
okay?
Come out?
I'll be real. Can I be real with you guys, because I'm so tired of being wrong on so many people that no. I watched like half of the Jeff interviews. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for Ica because I really don't care about these. I really don't. They're so awkward. They're so stilted. They're so terrible. I don't know why they continue to have Jeff Schroeder on in the diary room for the first day to interview the cast. It's so terrible. And I know that we can like, there are people that come from me and they say, oh, well, Brent, we have some good times with Jeff and Rob does a great impression of him. All great. That's all fun stuff. But what we lose in return, I feel like is a lot. There are some really great people out there. I do feel like that there are other people that we could get as an interviewer who are actually fans of the show. To me, it's clear that Jeff did not watch Big Brother 20 because he was in no way a part of it. So why would you have that person on as your spokesperson for this? I feel like that's a bad call. Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
You ready?
All right. Are you ready for Brent's second pick, number 5 overall off the board?
Yes. I have to say, I was stunned by this person. I've already talked about him a little bit before. Jack is my... Uh-oh.
Can you see a scenario where Jack can win this game?
I mean, there's obviously a scenario, I think, where he wins. I think that, I could have seen Austin maybe winning. There's been a lot of Jack and Austin comparisons. So, if Austin is the the low bar, hopefully, then that's a good sign for him. But I don't think it's necessarily likely. He is probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest recruity kind of players. I think he's watched the least amount of the show of some of the people that I've seen. He seems like he would be good socially, but strategically, I feel like he might be a little bit lost. And I could see him in that sort of Fessy role of, he'll probably make it far. He's a good guy. He's a physical guy. He's a good looking guy. But I don't know if he's going to be like a big contender here. He even called himself in his interview with Ica. He said, "Oh, I'm a follower." I'm pretty sure he's the only one. He might have been the only one that said that. So
here's the thing. I feel like you can't look like him and be an alpha. I feel like if you're going to look like him, you have to be a beta. So I was pleased that he was very beta. I have written on my piece of paper, apparently the stream went out for just a second while I was talking about him. But the thing that Jack makes me think is when his voice comes on, because he's gorgeous looking, but then his voice comes on, and I have written on my piece of paper, can you take this voice seriously? And my answer is yes. After listening to his interview with Ica, yes.
Why? What is it about his voice?
He's like it's like straight boy Brent. It's like, hey Ica, like My name is Jack. I'm here for Big Brother 21, and it's.
Is that a character that you
it's
do?
really nice
That
to
is
be-
it.
That
Sounds like it.
It's really amazing. Like this is a really great opportunity for me. and
Wow,
I'm so
Ika.
pleased to be here. Yeah. Like I was like, is that real? That can't be real, really? But then it was like the whole interview was like that. Wow. So I feel like the people are gonna like him. The guy, it's like the old saying about this kind of guy. The guys want to be him. The women want to be with him. And so I feel like he's set up well. Obviously somebody who looks like he does typically doesn't make it to the end of Big Brother. But I feel good about him. I feel like it's just very hard to dislike him.
Hard to dislike him. Do we know how tall he is? I feel like he's going to be an imposing figure in the house.
Let me see if I can find that information while you talk.
And I don't feel like he's going to be a threat in the challenges. I feel like that you're never going to forget about this guy. I don't think anybody's going to be actively targeting him from the jump, but I can't see a scenario where Jack gets to the end.
I can't if he creates an alpha alliance or whatever.
But
all male.
this is not a season. I know we're coming off of Big Brother Canada 7, but this is a season I don't feel like that we're getting the alpha male bro alliance. I don't know how many bros we have here, Melissa.
Maybe not, but I mean, I liked his personality a lot, and I liked his interview with Ika. I felt like he was really personable, and he seemed super calm and laid back. So I don't see him being like, an alpha bro who goes in there and is aggressive or whatever. I got the sense that he was kind of just going to hang back and maybe just make friends for a bit, which I feel could make him less of a threat. However, he is super athletic, and he talked about winning a bunch of veto competitions and how he's excited to save a bunch of people off the block or whatever. And that is a little concerning because that is a one-way ticket to being put on the block yourself or being backdoored. So I'm a little worried about him, but I did like him a lot, and I had him pretty high on my list just because I liked his personality. I felt like he was really easy to talk to, and he got along well with Ika.
Taran, I also don't feel like that he cares that much, Jack.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I think that of the cast, he is the most kind of just like, hey, I'm here, and I get to be me on TV, and that's fun, and people will love me, and it'll be great. And I think that he could be a lovable figure. I think that is possible. I think that he also might be somebody that's definitely prime for a showmance. If that is in the cards for him.
He wouldn't cut his hair. He would lose the show, Brent, before he cut his hair.
To be fair,
wouldn't cut that hair either.
My hair, so
he was so surprised that might even be a thing. It felt like in his interview with Ika, when Ika asked him that question, he was like, "Wait a minute, they might make me do that." It felt like
Brendan Viegas.
Yeah, it felt like he was reconsidering going on the show in the first place if this was this kind of thing.
I wish that Ika, because Ika, I know you know this, that there was
they've done that.
Jared on Big Brother Canada, for heaven's sake, famously went out of the house because he wouldn't cut his hair, and his hair was like half the length of this guy. Also in Big Brother All-Stars, Big Brother Kaser had to cut his hair along with Chicken George, and I know that's happened at least one other time. Brendan Viegas, yeah, it's happened. So I wish that she might have told him that, then he wouldn't be here. But I think he's going to be fun. I like him, and I like his overall possibilities.
Okay. All right. So there is Jack, and then no Brent picks for a little bit. Now we come back to Taran here at number 6 for his second pick.
Oh man, I have an abundance of riches here. I really didn't expect.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Enough with the preface.
Only one person can win.
This is genuinely a very difficult decision for me. And I can't even name the other person that I'm thinking about, just in case they still maybe are on the board by the time it comes back around. But I'm going to go with Kemi.
Kemi. Oh,
Kemi.
I am shocked. Like, the chat was begging me to pick Kemi, and I'm like, I thought that I could get her at number 12. I really did.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's talk about Kemi Faknul. Do we know how to pronounce that?
I don't know that they've ever said her name, but that sounds pretty good, Rob. Good for you.
Yes.
How dare you, Rob?
Faknule?
Oh goodness. Maybe we just say the first name.
Yeah. Kemi F.
It's weird. Like Kemi is the kind of player that normally is picked by the time she gets to me. So I'm not usually, the person that is able to pick Kemi. But I'm very excited to have Kemi on my team. She hasn't watched like her whole life, but in the year that she has, gotten into the show, she's seen 10 seasons. So she's really been doing her homework. She says she's not emotionally driven. She is logically driven. She really wants to play this game. And she has no trouble, breaking alliances. She'll win and be hated. She has seen, this was a funny interaction she had with Aika. She said she's seen Aika's stuff on YouTube, but she hasn't gotten into Big Brother Canada. I assume that meant that she's like watched Aika's interviews, but hasn't watched any of her seasons. But at
or
the
it could be compilations.
Right. And at the very least, she knows who Aika is.
Aika interview Big Brother celebrity contestants. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it told me even more so than watching a bunch of seasons that she's really been doing her homework, which I really enjoyed. She seems to be very personable. I think that she will do well socially. Her head is definitely in the game. I am excited to see what Kemi is capable of in the house.
Okay. All right. Is anybody down on Kemi?
I'm not down on Kemi, but I was more neutral on Kemi. I'm shocked that Taran would pick her in the 6th spot, mainly because I do feel like that here's the thing. I as a human, I responded positively when Aika, and I love that Aika put this question to her, like, okay, you're going to go in there, you're going to live your truth. But when you get your dander up, how are you going to respond to being painted as the angry black woman archetype? She was like, you know what? If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I don't really care about that. I think that's great for us on the outside. I'm living for that. But for the people in the house, it probably would behoove you to keep your emotions under your hat just a little bit more. And I heard like 3 or 4 different people in this cast. Tommy was one of them. Christy was one. Say, I'm going to go in there and live my truth. Well, you can live your truth, but also get your ass booted out of the Big Brother house. And I feel like maybe living your truth a little less loud within the context of the Big Brother house would be a good thing. So I'm slightly nervous for her on that count.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. I'm glad she's doing her homework. She seems really fun to watch. But I am a little worried because, even in her interview with Aika, she was like pretty sassy. And I could see people in the house interpreting that in a negative way, especially if she's like, I could see her getting.
I could see her being evicted second.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see that as well. I feel like I hope that we get to see her using the strategy that she's learned. And I mean, but like at the same time, the fact that Rachel Riley is like her favorite player, like we all love Rachel, but remember how Rachel did her first season? Like, terrible. It didn't work out well for her. So no. I'm a little concerned if she's like, I'm going to be Rachel. It's like, well, but are you going to be Rachel the first time or Rachel the second time? Because the second time is the way you want to do it. So who knows?
Also, the other thing, Rob and Taran, was that I felt like that I wasn't getting a lot of empathy from her in her interviews. This is one of the interviews I did watch with Jeff and with Aika. I don't know that she was able, like, I felt like I was getting fun Kemi, sassy Kemi a lot of the time. I never really felt like I was getting who's the real Kemi. Like, can you form the social bonds, the friendships, like the real grounded, concrete relationships that are needed to advance yourself in the game? Because if you can't do that, then all this other stuff doesn't really matter. If you can't be friendly with people and get them to trust you and get them to tell you a few secrets about themselves or feel comfortable talking with you, or at least be able to listen to somebody else and not pretend like you're not act like you're bored, I feel like that there's not a lot of room for you in this game.
Okay. Anything else on Kemi?
But I really want her to do well. Like, for her to, like, out of everybody in this cast, I was living for her when she said, when Aika was like, well, why Big Brother? She's like, well, for a variety of reasons, but I am really competitive and I want to win, and I want other people to know you tried and I won. Like, I mean, how can you not stand somebody like that? I just thought she was great.
Okay.
I love how like hungry she is for the money. Like she like, yes. And I think there's definitely a lot of room. I certainly like the players that want to be legends. I think that's great. But I love the fact that I feel very confident in her ability to really just cut anybody's throat for the money because that's what she's there for. And I love that.
You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried based on how quickly she was willing to discard alliances and throw them out the window, that she might be making big moves for the sake of big moves and not something that she actually needs to do. That's what I felt when I was listening to that interview.
Okay. All right. So Taran is in at number 6, and then I believe it comes back to me here at number 7. And this is a tricky spot. There's a couple different ways I could go, but I am going to go with somebody who I like. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to say give me Sam Smith. Okay. 31-year-old. He's the dad. In a normal season, he would be the old guy potentially. He could be set up as the person like, oh, okay, well, he's the person that's the oldest guy, but he's not here. So I think he has a little bit of a shield to protect him. And I don't know if somebody, not that it's easy to duplicate a Derek, but I as we were talking about with Kemi, that, if anybody's going to not take their eyes off the prize and then also be able to at least socialize with the other people in the house. A lot of the other people are 27 and 28. So it's, even though he's at a different stage in life, I feel like that he has a chance here. And I feel like that he's non-threatening as well.
I cannot believe he's like only 31 and we're like, oh, this guy might have been the old guy. Like, that is so
in
wild.
A lot of seasons he would be the old guy in the house.
He would be. And the way his interview went, I was like, oh, so this is like, the Jason character, like from a couple seasons ago, Big Brother 19. I was like, oh, this is like the Jason. And I was like, wait, hold on. He's 31. I thought he was way older when I was watching his interviews. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
But, I did like him. However, I love that he's a fan of the show. I love that, he's kind of, it seemed like throughout Sequester, he was realizing how to play and not play the game. He was saying he originally wanted to just like come out with a giant personality and then realize that that's probably not the best idea. And it's like, yeah, definitely not the best idea. Please don't do that. But I kind of think he's going to have trouble keeping himself toned down because he seems real out there, big personality. I could see him being a little annoying to some of the house guests if he's just like guns blazing all the time, which made me a little worried when I was watching his interview. So it really depends. I feel like he's got the head for Big Brother, but the personality of like a funny flame out early kind of character. So I'm excited to see where it goes, but I was a little too nervous to pick.
So I don't think he's gonna flame out early. I just think that he is sort of has.
Yeah, he's Rob.
Yes.
Rob just blanked out there. He reminded me, he gave me Johnny Mac vibes. I don't know if anybody else got those, but Johnny Mac also happens to be from Scranton. So that's an interesting coincidence there. But the thing about Johnny Mac is that Johnny Mac was super like super goofy and like high energy in his interviews. But when he went into the house, he was able to turn on like super chill mode. And I'm not sure that Sam is as capable of doing that. One of his, strategies going in that he said he wanted to do was, I want to make the biggest alliance ever, the biggest one ever that Big Brother has ever seen. And then I realized I need to be more chill. But the fact that he even had that in his head means that I feel like he's still going to want to do something like that at some point. I feel like Johnny Mac was a gamer. He knew the show really well. I'm sure Sam knows the show well too, but I think Sam knows the show in the sense of like, Derek was great, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like Johnny Mac kind of understood more of the mechanics. So I'm not super high on his chances. Also, like the other major factor here is that I don't know that he is going to be able to fit in with these people. He is one of, like 4 people that are over 30 in the house. And of those people, like very few of them are married with kids. That's a very different life experience that he's coming from. So a lot of these younger people that are not married and do not have kids, he's going to have a harder time relating to them on their same level. I think that's going to be difficult. He also comes from kind of a different part of the country. He's a truck driver. He's a very different person in this cast, and that's not a great sign.
Yeah, I'm back. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I just like that he doesn't have like the muscle bod that you're gonna look at this guy and say, okay, well we gotta take him out. I like that he's gonna stay focused on the prize, and he knows enough about the show to not be too terrible. So we'll see if he can get under the radar and do something with his shot here. Okay. Anything else on Sam?
Oh, well, this is the one person I think is going to annoy Twitter the most. I have written extra, too much, loudmouth.
In fairness,
DR.
doesn't take much to annoy Twitter.
That's true, but it does take a little bit more to annoy me, and he was already annoying me during his interviews with Ika and with Jeff. I just was like, honey, like, we hear you. Turn it down. You don't need to yell all the time. I will say, though, that my sister is very positive on Sam. And in fact, she was listed when she texted me as one of her most memorable people, and my sister is more than a casual. She actually watches the show and keeps up with the spoilers.
She's not an inside source. She doesn't know him or anything.
She is not an inside source. And by the way, I don't like saying that. Like, I'm not I just know a couple people just because I live in this world, y'all. Like, it's not like I have inside sources. Say that. Sorry.
I will say, when I was doing my Twitch stream during Jeff's interviews, I said, this is the guy that is going to be like the Marissa on Big Brother Celebrity, that like you're going to be, if he stays in the game, he is the one voice that is just going to be echoing in your brain.
Oh, God.
Oh. Okay. All right. That is Sam at number 7. Now we go back to Melissa for 2.
Oh, God.
Okay, Melissa was not happy at 1, and she's not happy at 8 or 9.
Melissa's never happy.
You're never happy. You're never happy.
That's why I have to make her unhappy, because there's no making her happy.
There really is no pleasing me. I feel like I have now I have concern. I still have my second pick on the board, but I have concerns about my second
woman.
Now. But now I have concerns. My list was literally like last minute, me just writing out I guess these people, the only ones I know are the bottom ones. So yeah. Okay.
Let's give Melissa a second here. Let's reset the board and talk about who's still available in alphabetical order. Annalise is still available. Christy is still on the board. Cliff is still on the board. David is still on the board. Holly is still on the board. Isabella is still on the board. Jackson is still on the board. Jessica is still on the board. And Nicole is still on the board. So 9 people to choose from.
Oh. Okay. I have 3 people that I want to pick, and I can't pick 3. So now I'm like, I have more than 3 that I want to pick, but I have like 4. But okay. I'm going to pick someone who I ended up putting as my second pick, but it was kind of by process of elimination because I went backwards up, and then I was like, oh, okay, I guess here we go. And this one I'm really confused on after watching the interviews. So I really don't know if this is a good pick or not, but I'm just going to go with it, which I feel bad about, but I'm going to pick David.
David. Okay. David Alexander.
I'm so confused by this guy because his interview, I liked him in his interview with Jeff. His interview with Ika, I really couldn't get a good read on him. And then he did that crying, actual tears. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's pretty wild. And I felt like he could get along well with people. He's got that smile, that charm. I feel like I could see him charming people and getting along with people. Maybe he doesn't know the game so well, but he did say he's like, oh, I've been, I'm a recent fan, but I've been watching a lot. And she's like, oh, well, how long ago are you a fan? And he's like 100 days ago. And I was like, okay, so at least he's had some time. And then she's like, what seasons did you watch? And he said, I watched Big Brother 20 and Big Brother 12. And I was sitting there for this rankings podcast, I watched 7 seasons in like 5 days. So
Okay, maybe he doesn't
this
like
guy-
it, Melissa.
If he doesn't like it, then get out. You shouldn't be playing. But like, I just was like, okay, so you weren't quite binging it because it's just 2 seasons, but okay. I'm glad that he watched it all. He liked Tyler's game. He did say that he wants to play a boring game, which like as a person watching, I don't like, but as a drafter, sounds like he might last a little while. So I could see him picking up the game along the way. He seems smart and he seems personable. So I'm just going to go with it.
Okay.
Yes, David. David was the guy I was hoping would fall back to me.
Taran likes David.
I do. I like David.
Well,
I thought maybe there was a chance. Nobody was picking him. I like David. As Melissa mentioned, I think he was great in the Jeff interview. One thing that I really enjoyed from David was that he said that he doesn't like to lie. He's not a good liar, despite the fact that he can, cry on command.
Right.
But I like that because I don't like when people say, "Oh yeah, I'm a great liar," because great liars don't say that they're great liars, even in preseason interviews. Like, that's just not if you're a great liar and you say that you're a great liar, then you're not actually a great liar. You're just you're good at lying to friends about surprise parties or something. Like, it is not the same thing as Big Brother. So I liked that. He gave me that sort of like sleazy vibe about I don't know, I could never lie. What? And I like that. And the same vibe I got from his fake crying, which was super weird. And I like that a lot. So I'm really interested in watching him. He said he might be boring, but I think that he might be fun to watch. And I'm also interested in seeing what he does in the game. He wants to be a legend. He wants to borrow some of what he saw from Tyler. He's willing to, win and be hated. He is single. I think he is somebody that might end up in a showmance, or at least a little bit of a showmance. So I like him. I think he's going to be very, very social. The fact that he watched Big Brother 12, I think, is good for him. I think this OV loving Hayden and Big Brother Canada 7 and Big Brother 12, I think this is good for the men in the house right now. So
haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
Okay.
No.
I mean, here's the thing, Rob. Before you go, I just want to say that is it a good thing that we don't know which is the real David, Melissa? Because I feel like he's such a wild card. I said this to the chat. Like, to me, of all the people in the cast, I feel like he's the biggest wild card. There's a lot of potential upside, so good for you for picking him. But on the other side, I feel like he could be a complete disaster. I don't know what to believe about him. I'm just not there's nothing for me to grab onto to feel any sort of positive about him other than he can fake cry, which is an amazing skill, but really that's not what Big Brother is about. And how often are you ever going to use that? Maybe once, I guess, maybe twice, but I don't remember many people crying in past seasons when they probably needed to cry. I just don't know what to think about him, and that's why I'm so quizzical about him.
David is going to do David.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. And he had his own freaking hashtag.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
David,
don't remind me.
Hashtag.
Okay.
David gonna do David. Oh my God. Shut up. No one cares.
All right. Anything else about David? He went to high school with the mega rap group, the Migos. That's exciting.
I don't know who that is, but
Okay. All right.
I guess
They're mega.
Okay. All right. So that is David, and then we are officially halfway there. All right. So that was the top 8. Now let's talk about the back 8. Melissa, who is your second pick here?
I'm deciding between 2 people, and I can't decide if I want to pick someone who is a safe choice or pick someone who is more of a risky choice, but maybe is more fun. And I feel like I kind of picked safe choices, so I want to pick the risky choice.
You
But
just
I
tell
don't-
me both names and I can tell you which one you should pick.
No. You're not doing that. Okay. All right. I'm like semi hoping that the chat's gonna like say the person, and then I'll just be like, oh,
This is like The Price is Right.
yeah. Like, come on, help me out here, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Chat,
All
help
right.
her out. She wants help. Tell her who to pick.
I think I'm just going to pick.
Amazing podcasting, Melissa.
Okay.
I have
All
to
right.
say,
Okay. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, this is
I'm
great.
horrid.
Webby for this.
Yeah. Good content. I'm going to pick Bella.
Isabella. Okay.
I'm gonna pick her, and that was my risky choice
Okay.
because I like her a lot. I loved her. I loved her interviews. I thought she was really entertaining. Her stories were funny. I just really liked her, and I had to go with it, even though there was a safer choice on the board. But I feel like my other choices are more safe choices. Maybe not so Catherine, but I just think that I could see Bella being a little crazy in the house, and I love it. And I also am scared about it. So I just decided to go for it.
Okay. All right. Brent, how do you feel about Bella? Brent is shaking his head.
Look, I am going to be standing her till the end of time on Twitter, but there's no way I would pick her in this draft. I have written no way would I ever pick this person unless
Why?
they're left till the end.
Why?
Because I feel like she's too much of a gamer to be trusted. I like the hell. Let me tell you. Start with the positive. The positive about her is, first of all, she's a recruit. That's not positive, but it is positive that she views it as just a game. It's just a game. She's going to try and do her best. She's not going to get her dander up if she gets upset about something. She's not going to let people get under her skin. It's just a game. She doesn't mind lying. But I feel like there's too much of a gamer in her to actually be trusted by these people. I don't feel like anybody's going to bond with her at all. I feel like
Really?
that.
I feel like
Where are
she
you
could
getting
bond
that from?
well with some of those people. I mean, I feel like I would get along with her. I could already see her getting along with like at least 3 or 4 people really well in the cast from their interviews.
Because
So-
she said she's the definition of high key, and she also says she has a social game. But the definition of social game to me is knowing when to be low key, and she doesn't seem really capable of doing that. Also, the fact that she's like it's just a game, don't worry about it. Like that sort of misses the human nature, Big Brother. I mean, the reason we got Josh as a winner, the reason we got Casey as a winner is because there are lots of people who are on the show who don't think it's just a game. They view it as more than that. They have feelings that get in the way of things. So you have to be able to interact with those people in the house. And she doesn't seem like she's willing to take the time to do that. I'm sorry. Look, I'm sure I'm going to love her on the show, but I would not pick her in the draft.
Okay. Taran, can you settle this? Are you in or out on Bella?
I'm a little bit in the middle, actually.
Fancy 10.
I felt like Bella talked a big game in her bio, and even in her interview with Ica, she's like, "Hey, I'm used to getting my way. I'm really crazy. I'm gonna be out there." But she was saying it like in a really chill tone of voice. Like she was very chill and all. She's the person I got the least amount of read on in both of her interviews. And yet she's so snarky and fun in the bio, and she claims to be this big character. So I actually think that's a good sign for her in the game. I think that she has the ability to be very low key, to be very chill. And I think that's going to be good for her. But I just don't have much of a read on her in terms of how she's going to do in the game and how hard she's going to play. I don't know like how well she knows the show. I don't think it's particularly well. So I think that she could be good, but she could also be bad, and that's why I'm kind of just in the middle.
Yeah, no, I see her as being either good or bad. Like I am not like, oh, she's definitely going to be really good.
We really have the hot takes tonight.
No, I mean,
She could be in the middle.
I meant in a way that like I could see her either being like really good or being really bad. So that's a little bit more of a hot take than just good or bad.
She's going to be really bad. I feel like she has rock star potential at best.
Okay. All right.
And I love
Rockstar.
I love Rockstar, but she didn't play a good Big Brother game. Let's be real. And I would tell her that if she was right here. Come on. Like, I keep it real.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We know.
Just because I say you don't play a good Big Brother game doesn't mean I don't love you as a contestant or as a person. But, like I could play a shitty Monopoly game and still say, Brent, I still love you. Come on,
Okay. All right.
It's just a game.
So,
Bella.
all right. It's just a game, Bella. All right. So now we come back to me at pick number 10. And I have somebody that I'm kind of high on. I don't know if they will be the winner, but I kind of have a good feeling on this person, and I'm going to go with Jackson. And I think that a lot of people are probably going to be out on Jackson, but I think he has a lot of potential, and I think he could be very good. I think he seems like he's a very smart guy. I know that he is going to be a physical threat, and that could be a negative for him. Could get showmanced up, even though he says that he's not going to. But I like the way that he was talking about the game going in, and I think that people might overlook him. He's a religious guy. I think that maybe some people might sleep on him a little bit in terms of like, okay, he's just a nice Southern guy. But as he told Ika, he is a shark.
Yes, he's a shark. He's not a lion.
Further at that.
I mean, maybe a lion would do well. I liked Jackson. I like Jackson a lot. The major downside I think Jackson has is just his look. He looks like Captain America. Even more so than Shane.
Aquaman, though.
We do have Aquaman, but Aquaman's cool. He's edgy. Captain America, nobody takes Captain America to the final two. I just feel like nobody will let this guy, even if he is good at the game, nobody will look at this guy and be like, yeah, that guy's the one I want to sit next to. And I think he'll have a hard time getting over that. Even though I do think he does have some upside. I don't know if he's the most engaging person that I've seen in the interviews. He was very Cody-esque in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think he's Cody. I think he's Cody, but I think he might know the game better than Cody, with all due respect.
Yes.
To Cody. I liked how he was talking about the game last season. He's talking about how Tyler lost because he was too good at the game, where that people didn't know what Tyler had done in the house, like the people who had watched the show had known what he was doing along the way, and that he felt like that he was going to be able to take what Tyler did and hopefully try to improve on that. So I feel like that he is saying a lot of things that I like, and I feel like that is more than I could say for a lot of the other people that are left on the board here at pick number 10.
Yeah, one other quick thing about Jackson is that there is speculation with all of these people who know each other, that him and Ovi went to the same college. They were both involved in the fraternity, the Greek life stuff. They were at that college around the same time. I've heard from a few different people actually that also went to that school, that it would be weird if they did not at least know of each other. Certainly, Ovi was a very prominent figure in the school, so they likely, at the very least, know of each other, if not, have actually met and know each other to some degree. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I also feel like it must be said at this point that I have heard from a few people, 2 different people, that Jackson dated a woman who was friends with Catherine. So this was the other person, allegedly. So they played,
maybe every person knows each other. Together. Maybe they're all friends that got put into the house together.
Well, I mean, like, I'm a little bent out of shape about it too, Rob. But I mean, I feel like it's important to put out there that I feel like he will recognize Catherine when he's in the house with her. So again, Melissa, good job.
Okay.
Catherine to pick at number 1.
All right. Melissa, any thoughts on Jackson?
Yeah. I waffled back and forth with him because at first I really liked him. And then I was a little iffy on him. So I liked him a lot at first because, I mean, there's a few good things. He knows the show. He's seen at least some of the seasons. He's able to talk about it really well. He was able to give Ika a really good pitch, I thought, when she was trying to do that fake, like, oh, I'm about to put you on the block, what are you going to say to me thing. I thought he did a really good job with that. He seems really smart. However, I'm a little concerned about him because I could see the way he looks just makes it seem like he's a big physical threat. And I feel like people are interested in getting rid of those kinds of people pretty early these days. You usually at least get rid of one. And he even said that he comes across as a Brad, Chad, Thad type, which I don't like that he thinks that that's like a great thing.
Yeah.
I think that that's not good, and I wouldn't want.
Well, I don't know if he was saying that was a point why he's going to do great.
No, not why he would do well, but he was like, "This is how I come across. Like, I know that's how I come across." Well, if you know that's how you come across, like that's not a good thing. So maybe
what do you want him to
not
do? Gain 50 pounds to go in the house?
No, I'm just saying, like, but it's not the way you necessarily look; it's the way you act, or at least that's the way I
feel like he's a little intense. To
and
me,
he is very intense.
He said he was intense.
Yeah,
he's super intense. I feel like that could throw some people off. You know, there's also the fact that he, I mean, he's from Tennessee, but he's living in LA as a server. Like, that
who isn't
clearly that he's trying to be a model or an actor. He's not like, so he's definitely not in this because he like loves Big Brother. Not that most of these people are,
How dare you.
but I just am a little concerned that of the way he comes across too intense. And I think that could throw some people off because of the way he looks, coupled with the fact that he's coming across really intense. It could make people think that he's aggressive or scary or whatever. And I mean, he seems like a super charming guy, but I could see him turning and not being super charming on like, you know, the drop of a hat. So I'm a little concerned about him. I mean, I hope he does well, but you know, you never know.
Do you really hope he does well?
I think that I would like to see his strategy. He was really intelligent, and I liked his pitch to Ica, so I could see that being a really cool, you know, type of character to watch, where you have like not just an athletic person, but he's really smart and able to manipulate people. I would like to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Riley in the chat. He did feel like a little self-righteous to me. Also, and this isn't tea, it's just my own personal take on him, but
Coffee.
It looked like he had some like plastic surgery or something. Like his face looked really tight. Like I don't know if being out in LA, he's had some Botox or something, but
It's
his
just the jawline.
It looks
Doesn't have enough
so
skin.
tight, like to the point where I didn't
You
trust
think
him.
he had
So
work done?
I had work done when I was 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rob's like, I'm not part of that universe.
Yeah. I don't know about this. Okay.
I will say, like, it's almost similar to the lying thing. Jackson pointed out in his Ike interview, he's like, "Hey, I'm a good guy. I'm not like this douchey guy. I'm a good guy."
Right.
Again, similar to lying
Good
thing.
guys never
If you
say
have to-
I'm the good guy.
If you have to point out that you're a good guy, I don't know how good of a guy you are, but you know, I do think people will like him in the house. I do think that he will do well socially. It's really, again, it's for me, it's just I don't know if he's all the way there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that is Jackson at number 10. And now we come back to Taran here at pick number 11 for his third pick on the board.
All right. This is an interesting one. I have one person higher than this other person, but I'm gonna go with this other person because
You
already
feel
have,
like they can come back to you. You feel like that when Brent picks 2 in a row, Brent will not pick this person.
I don't know, man. It's a tough one. But man, I really shouldn't do this.
Just do it.
Okay, Melissa.
I know I can't speak.
You know what? I'm gonna go with my other instinct. I'm gonna switch it up here. I'm gonna go Annalise.
Okay,
Right.
Annalise.
That was my other option, by the way. That was my safe choice. So she's up there on my list, but then I went with the one that was a little further down because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Annalise.
I have a very young team. That's my only concern here. But and really, my main concern with Annalise is how young she is. She's 22 years old. She reminds me of Haley to some extent. And honestly, I had higher hopes for Haley than I do Annalise. And you know, that's not the greatest thing because I do think that Annalise. Or that Haley was hindered by the fact that she was young. But I do like Annalise. I think that she seems She seems nice. She seems social enough. I think she will get along with people. She's very, very pretty. She's very athletic. She was, she said her whole life was dedicated to, soccer. And not only does that mean that she's going to be very athletic, and I think that's great for her, but team sports is generally something that translates, I think, fairly well to social games. So I think that's a pretty good thing for her as well. I found her to be a bit awkward in her interview with Jeff, so that wasn't great. But I did like her more in her interview with Ica. She had a weird opinion about Angela. She was like, "I feel like Angela could have done better if she was more confrontational."
More confrontational. That's what she.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not sure you understand what that means, because she says that she's very confrontational, and similar to Bella, who I felt like talked a big game. I was like, you keep saying that you're very confrontational. It is not what I get from you. I believe it a little more about her, though. I do feel like that might be the case. She's probably used to being in very competitive environments.
She had videos on her phone of her fighting people on the soccer field. I'm going to check World Star Hip Hop and see if I can find
But I also feel
it.
like on the soccer field, like her examples of being confrontational were like, oh, I've gotten a lot of
Two red cards and lots of yellow cards.
But it's like that's in a soccer game. That's not like
That's not in
confrontational
life.
to me is like you're getting in like screaming fights with people, or you're like, anytime you're upset about something, you like go off on people. That's what I take confrontational to be. And I didn't really, I think it might be one of those things where she talks it up for casting. So it's like, oh, this girl's not super boring. She's exciting. She's fun to watch. But really she's not super confrontational. Like that's what I'm getting from her, but who knows? She might surprise us.
Yeah, I do think that she will be underestimated. I think that because of how young she is, I think that people will not see her as so much of a threat unless she really comes out of the gate like dominating the physical competitions. But even then, I think that it's these bigger guys tend to come off as bigger physical threats, even though they're usually not. So I think that she'll be able to slide by for a little while. I think that she'll fit in well with a big group of people, and I have hopes that she can translate that into something good.
Yeah, I thought that her motto in life, I thought was a good one to take with her into the game. Her motto is "Be a badass with a good ass." How I live my life, also.
Yeah.
What's her motto? I guess the motto that I heard was, when asked about a showman's, if it happens, it happens, which means, okay, I'll totally do it. Yeah, I didn't understand the whole thing with Angela and going to be more confrontational. Again, Angela would not have won if she got to the final two. She didn't need to be more confrontational. That was not her problem. I think that, look, I'll just say this, and I'll never talk about it again, but I feel like it has to be said. She has the terrible misfortune of being cast on a season of Big Brother, the season after Brett was on BB20 and spelled out anal lice famously as a wrong answer.
That joke is going to get so old.
I know it's going to get old.
It was old the first time I saw
It's
it.
literally
First
old
time
right
I saw
now.
it was old. I said it one time for y'all in the chat because that's all y'all keep saying. But after this, we're going to call her Annalise or Annalise. I want to make
We're
sure.
not going to tolerate those jokes.
We're not going to
Yes.
tolerate it anymore.
And that everyone's getting banned.
We're mad as hell. We're not going to take
We're
it.
not going to take it anymore. Okay.
All right, Peter Finch.
Okay. How do we pronounce her name correctly?
Annalise.
Annalise.
Yes, Annalise.
Yeah, Annalise.
Annalise.
I was saying Annalise at the beginning, but that's very American. It's Annalise.
Annalise. Yes. Okay. All right. So Taran has Annalise. Anything else you want to say about Annalise?
I mean, I feel great about her that she's a fan. She could name who Danny Donato was and Jordan Lloyd. I mean, I feel like that's the good. On the other hand, I don't know that she learned the right messages from those people. I mean, like Jordan, I guess you could say she won because of her authenticity, but she didn't do anything positively to move herself forward in the game necessarily. I feel like maybe looking at Danny Donato during her second season, if you want to play balls out, might be a better way for her to go than necessarily BB-8.
Okay. All right. Brent, you
Yes.
have two more picks, your two final picks.
Okay, well, the first one's easy, so I'll just go with her. Obviously, I'm going to pick Holly.
Holly.
For reasons
Annalise
I
and
told you
Holly,
earlier.
back to back.
Back to back. Holly is somebody who I really responded positively to. And I know that some people in the chat are not going to like her. I feel like some people think she's here for the fame. But I thought she was very grounded in her interview with Ika, to a point where I don't think she's going to wow any of us on the live feeds. I don't think anybody's going to be on Twitter going, yes, queen, yes. But I do feel like she's going to play a solid Big Brother game. I feel like there are things in this house that if you play your cards right and you go to sleep for a little while and then wake up, famously, as Rob said, I do feel like that things can work out for you. In some ways, I feel like that's sort of what Casey did last year, although obviously she had a little bit more agency because she knew what was happening in the game. I just feel like that even though she doesn't know the game very well, she's not catty, she's not confrontational, and I do feel like that will serve her well in the long term. Her interview with Ika, to me, sounded like just two girls talking. And the fact that she's not here for the cattiness, and this is the other person that my friend knows, the fact that she's not here for the cattiness and she's not a catty woman, I think will serve her well when playing Big Brother.
What about the wild animals that she works with?
Yeah, well, I didn't care about that. But
in my experience, the girls who say that they don't like catty girls and that they're not catty are usually the cattiest girls of all.
Aha!
We're really onto something.
I'm it.
Yes.
Declarative statements.
And just all I'm saying is that
You have
I don't
to
know
declare
how
it. It means that it's not true.
I don't know how she's gonna be in the house, but it's a big red flag for me when somebody says, I don't like catty girls, or I don't get along with girls because they're catty. And then she said, well, I grew up with two sisters or whatever she said, but I got along well with them because they're not catty girls. They're not catty. And it's like, well, like, it's weird to me that she has this stereotype of girls being catty. That usually indicates that, like, there's the common denominator there, which is you. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're the problem here. The fact that she said that she gets along better with guys was like, oh, okay. All right. That's, kind of contributing to that. It's possible that it did seem a little bit like she said it and then was like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. I need to backtrack. At least that's the vibe I got, because if I had said that, then I would have been like, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. People are going to hate me. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not a fan of that comment, but I will say that I did like the story she was telling about, how she grew up on a farm or whatever without any electricity or whatever. I thought that was interesting. And, she seems nice and friendly, and the fact that she has a connection already with someone in the house is probably good for her. Yep. If it's true that she's not a catty person and she doesn't get along with quote unquote catty people, then and that's actually a true statement where it's not just that she doesn't get along with girls, it's that legitimately if there is a catty person there, she's not going to get along with them, then that's great. But it made me nervous when she said that, and so I don't know how she's going to do. So,
by the way, I just want to say this really quickly before I forget about this. The fact that she's going into the house with somebody that not only she knew was going to be in the house, but they've talked about what they're going to do when they get there together, that cannot be overstated. I remember last year during Big Brother 20, when you had Rockstar accusing people in her own alliance, like, Haley, were you the vote? Scotty, were you the vote? Fessy, were you the vote? You don't know who to trust because you don't know who to believe. The fact that she's going in there with somebody who she actually knows in the outside world is such a step up from everybody else in the house, and that's why I went with her here.
Well, everybody except for Tommy and Christy and potentially Ovi and Jackson.
Yeah. So, look, if there's, we're saying maybe it was an oversight. Maybe they knew this stuff, and maybe it's like, hey, maybe we've got well, what does it matter if these two people know each other and these two people know each other and these two people know each other? Then doesn't it level the playing field?
I will say something that interested me about Holly, knowing that she had a potential connection to Catherine. In her Ika interview, she was talking about being too trusting. And she said specifically, I'm really worried that I'm going to trust someone too much. And it felt to me, knowing what I know about her and Catherine, that she's specifically talking about Catherine, that she was talking with Catherine beforehand and she's worried that she might be trusting her too much, which I thought was an interesting thing to see pre-season.
Melissa, is she the one that also dated a Bachelor guy?
Yes.
Okay.
And that
I think
guy
she was trying to get on The Bachelor, wasn't she?
I don't know, but I know that she dated a Bachelor guy and that guy sucked. So.
Okay.
So I would never date him. So.
Oh, wow.
Like,
boy.
if that's any indication.
Okay.
Well, we all know how low standards Melissa has.
Oh,
Clearly,
Whoa.
I don't know. That just felt like what you were saying.
yeah.
Oh, wow. I have high standards, Taran.
Well, then you're not saying much by saying
Yeah.
you wouldn't dance.
I'm saying a lot by saying like I have high standards, and if this guy clearly doesn't meet those standards because he's bad.
Yes, he misses those standards by a lot, Taran. Okay.
Good to know.
All right.
By a lot.
All right.
High standards.
Holly Allen. No relation to Hoodie Allen, Taran?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Hoodie, who, by the way, is coming out with a new album soon.
Yes.
That everyone should check out. But no, he has not said much about Holly Allen. I was not a fan of Holly. She was actually last on my draft board.
Ooh.
I really did not get a great vibe from her. With Jeff, she came off just not great to me. The way that she talked about her upbringing, I talked about it on my Twitch. It seemed a little tone deaf to me. That she really just seems like somebody that grew off very well off. And I'm not somebody that judges people who grew up with money or from, who get to go to dude ranches every summer and all of this stuff and travel the world all the time. I think that's great, but I don't know how well that's going to play in a house full of people that do not have that lifestyle. And then by the end of the interview, she even said to Jeff, hey, would you rather win and be hated or lose and be loved? She was like, oh, I'd rather lose and be loved because I could make 500,000 somewhere else. That really sold that impression to me.
I don't like this place where you get drunk on wine and then have drunk people mess with the wild animals. I don't think that this place is on the level. I got to be honest. A bunch of rich people getting all drunk on wine, and then Holly, she's not a veterinarian. What does she know about animals? And then she's taking the drunk people to go and see the animals. I think that they should do an investigation about this place.
It's Malibu Wines, and I've been there many times.
Yes. I know you have high standards. So Melissa, what's going on there?
It's not really like everyone's thinking it is, where it's like an actual like safari thing. They have like some animals, but it's not. It's like they have like, I think they have like a giraffe, and they've got some like llamas or something.
We need to get Shannon Elizabeth on this.
It's mainly, I never did like the tour part of it with like the animals. So maybe they have some like hidden in the back or something. But I just went to like an event there where they had, it's just like wine tasting, and there was like food trucks there at the time. So I didn't do like the safari aspect of it, but it's not everyone's thinking this is some sort of like African safari where you see all these like crazy like lions and stuff. It's not like that. I mean, it's interesting, but it's like not that many animals.
Okay. All right. So, Brent, bring us home. The final round. Okay. We have a Brent pick, and then a Taran pick, and then a Rob pick, and then Melissa will get whoever is left.
Yes. I polled the chat.
It will be the one pick that Melissa will not get to stress about.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yes. I polled the chat, and because this is it. This is the last round. And I was between two people. There are two people I'm definitely not going to pick. So it's Cliff or Christy. That's where I'm at right now. And it was very hard to tell. I think the chat was probably 50-50, but I'm gonna take the plunge and go with Cliff, because I think there's so much upside with Cliff Hogg.
That's who I want.
Then you should have picked him.
I was gonna take Cliff with my last pick, so
I wouldn't have gotten him. But I was really hoping that you guys were gonna be like, oh, he is first boot, whatever. I could get him. I could snag him.
So we've heard a lot about the downside. What are the downfalls of Cliff?
Obviously,
but no, we've that's been widely explored. Okay. Let's talk about the upside. Let's talk about the upside for
the
Cliff.
fact that he knows who Taran Armstrong is, for one thing, I feel like is a positive thing. The fact that he listens to Taran's morning updates has to speak well to him. Here's the thing. If he can make it past the first week of the show, I feel like he's got a real chance to win. But that is a big ask when you are a 53-year-old trapped in a house of mostly 20-year-olds and a few 30-year-olds. I mean, when you have somebody like Sam, who's considered an older guy and he's 31 years old, you are really out of your depth. So I am worried about the first week. I don't want him to go the way of Glenn or Summer of Steve. But I feel like there's tremendous upside with Cliff. He's such a fan of the show that if he can play, and the other thing that was loud and clear during his interviews with Ika and with Jeff is that he's well aware of the pitfalls of someone like himself, who could be evicted as an easy vote during the first week. He realizes that he probably has to be a little bit more aggressive. I will say that his plan was like, well, I probably have to win the first HOH because I don't want to go the way of that. It was a good plan, but considering the way that I think the first HOH competition is going to be a little bit more physical, which it usually is, to be fair, I don't think that he's going to have much of a chance to win that. So he's going to have to play his cards a different way, but I have confidence in him. I do feel like that him being a fan of the show, listening to RHAP, his daughter is a patron of RHAP, and that's not why I picked him. I feel like he's just going to be a lot of fun, and if he can make it past the first week, look out. Also, I think it's so cool that it has the last name of Hogg, and he wears that cowboy hat. He's not the spitting image of Sorrel Book, who played Boss Hogg on The Deuce of Hazzard, but he looks like him enough with the last name that I feel like it has to be #Boss Hogg for my team.
Okay. All right.
I was just gonna say I love him. I think he's so great. I think he's if it's honestly the age thing and the stereotype of like, oh, first boot that scared me away from picking him like number one, because I love his personality. I love the fact that he's a huge fan of the show. I mean, he was name dropping everybody when asked about his favorite player or the player he was going to emulate or whatever. He is so sweet. He kind of sounds like Donnie. When I was listening to his interview, it really gave off
get
Donnie
powers.
vibes.
He could get those votes.
And, yeah, totally. And he was funny. I was like actually cracking up at some of the stuff he was saying in the interviews. He kind of reminded me of my dad a little bit, just because like my dad is kind of goofy, and the fact that he was talking about like loofahs and stuff. Like if I was in the house with him, I would just love him. He's so sweet and he's so funny. And also he's cutthroat. He's willing to play a cutthroat game and do whatever it takes to win. And that's the kind of thing I want to see. So, I was really hoping that you guys would just leave him for me. But oh well.
Okay. So I love Cliff too. I'm very excited that he has listened to the podcast and he has a chance to play. But I think that this is really going to be a tough road for him, because first he has the thing going against him where he could be a very easy first boot, and kudos to him for recognizing that if it's an anybody but me type situation, he could very easily be, let's just get rid of the one person who's older than everybody. So I give him a lot of credit for being aware of that. But I think that he knows the game so well, and I think he's so strategic that I think that the perfect way to play this is like the Kevin Schleuber, who just comes across as like the go along to get along kind of guy. And Taran, I feel like that the moment that he gives off any sort of strategic acumen, I think that he is a person who becomes very expendable to the plans.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, ultimately, Kevin's downfall is that he never takes charge of his game. He's doing pretty well early on, but he never, grabs the reins, and he kind of just lets the game walk away from him. I'm hoping that if Cliff is able to take the best parts of somebody like Kevin and also bring in a knowledge of the game and a willingness to take the reins, that he can go from that point forward and do well. But it's a very, very difficult road. And everything that I said about Jackson and how nobody wants to take somebody like Jackson to the final two, who just looks like Captain America. Something similar can be said of Cliff, where if he is the lovable, dad figure in the house, which I think he might need to be in order to survive to the end of the game, then if he does have a chance of winning the game, nobody's going to take him there. And it's going to be difficult for him, I think, to win his way there. That those, final three competitions tend to be fairly physical until part three. And so his ability to win his way to the final two is going to be really difficult. And it's hard to see somebody being willing to take him if he's as lovable as he seems in these interviews. So that's really the biggest downside for me. I wanted to pick him. I was going to, but the chat told Brent to pick him instead. So now people can blame the chat instead of me. for not picking him.
Okay, well, so that
Yeah,
if
now he's not
Taran,
gonna win.
so I just want to follow the logic. So if Taran would have picked him, he would have won the season.
Yes.
And because
He would've
Brent
won.
picked him and Taran did not pick him, now he will not win.
And it's all the chat's
Yeah.
fault.
I think it's very hard to be so strategic and then be in his spot where I think that for him to get far in the game, I think the other people in the house just have to underestimate him and look at him as like a Donnie or a Kevin, where they feel like that. And Donnie's probably not a good example because they thought that a million different things about Donnie, but like a Jerry, just somebody who, okay, he's got nothing. He's not a threat. He has nothing going on. But I worry, Taran, that he could be almost like a Big Brother 3 Jerry, where he is at the chess table and wanting to talk strategy, because for the young people in the house, you have a lot of those flirting and showmances and a lot of stuff like that. That for people, if you don't have those interests, then all you have to think about is the game, and you end up doing a lot of game talk. And I think that could put you more on people's radar than people who are doing less game talk.
I feel like the best thing for Cliff would be for the shit to get real fast, because as long as it's summer camp in there, I feel like he's not going to be able to spread his wings. The minute somebody like Catherine or Christy or Nick gets in danger and realizes that their game might be up in smoke, I feel like that's where he could really step in and have a little fun. I just feel like there's tremendous upside to him, and I don't feel like there's a lot of upside to everybody else that's left, but I share your concerns about him.
Okay. All right. So Taran has a final pick of the 3 people that are left on the board. Just to reset who they are, we still have Christy sitting out there. We still have Nicole sitting out there. We still have Jessica sitting out there. So 3 interesting choices to go with.
Yeah, and honestly, I think each one of these people has some upside to them.
I don't think there's any absolute clunkers in this season.
No, I don't think so either. I was surprised because usually there's at least probably maybe a third of the cast maybe that I'm like, absolutely no, I don't want these people on my draft. And then like, I feel like there's usually like maybe 5 people where we all are like vying for these 5. But I feel like this year we were kind of all over the place, and a lot of people who I thought people might choose, they didn't choose. And so this is kind of a weird draft.
Yeah.
Yes, I have some clunkers on my list, but they're not consensus clunkers.
Yeah, so there's very few consensus clunkers in this season.
So this is going to be a bit of a tough pick, but ultimately I am going to go with Christy.
Christy, okay.
Yes. One of the reasons why I'm going with Christy is this connection with Tommy. I have a lot of faith in Tommy. If Tommy's doing well, I'm sure that he will want to have Christy do well as well. He might be an in for her if she has trouble otherwise getting in with people. I think that's great. Even if they don't get in with the same people, I think their connection is very solid. Based on what we're kind of assuming, she talked about recently getting out of a 7-year relationship with an older woman. And we have, allegations. Well, that's not the right word. Rumors that we have rumors, unsubstantiated, necessary rumors that she dated Tommy's aunt, who seems to be an older woman. So if that was the same relationship, then she's likely known Tommy for at least something around 7 years. There's also a photo out there.
It's not an allegation or anything. It's legit. That's who she's talking about.
The aunt is the older woman. That's confirmed.
Yes.
It seems like it.
Okay.
You guys are going to feel real bad when it turns out the aunt is younger.
I have no doubt that is not the case. I know that is not true.
Yes. Well, so they seem to have a good relationship. There's a picture of them. They went to like a concert together. So I think that they have a pretty close relationship. This is something even more so than I think something like Holly and Catherine, who might be friends and might have been, coordinating, but maybe they're not sure they can fully trust each other. I feel like these two can really. She was at Thanksgiving with his family, and family is everything to him. So I feel like this is a good relationship for the both of them. And that's one of the reasons why I feel good about Christy. She's also in my preferred age range, the upper 20s. That's what I'd like to see players in, even though I have a much younger team other than Christy. She has some things that I don't like. She talked about, I think I might be too likable, so I might need to tone that down. And there's one in almost every season. She claims to have a photographic memory, which is never.
There's always one.
Never true.
Ever true.
Stop. Like Vanessa probably was the person that came the closest, but even then, like, not quite there.
Do you have a photographic memory, Taran?
No, I do not. And very few people actually do, as far as I'm concerned. So that's not great. She said she had a big mouth. That's not the best trait to have in the Big Brother house. She said she's killer at puzzles. So that she has that over, I think, the person that she is meant to represent, which is Caitlin. And so that might be a good thing for her. She said she's already won, because she's going to go in with integrity and she's going to leave with integrity. I don't like that either.
She's the winner, Rob. She's the winner. You know how you love that. Yes.
But I do think she might have some agency. I think she might play the game. She's been watching since season 8. She has connections already. I think that she might have some upside here. I do not feel bad about this pick as my final pick.
Yeah, I had her sort of middle of the pack, so I think that she is a bargain here in round number 4 for Christy. I do wonder, like, if this was a Big Brother Canada season, this is like the kind of person who is a first boot. So
first boot.
We'll see if the house is not as touchy feely in terms of feeling her energy, if she's somebody who could be a target early on.
I mean, that's the thing, is that I felt like I was looking at somebody who was a little kooky. She seemed a little like weird to me, little like, not that you can't get into new agey energy stuff, but it comes off a little bit like snake oil salesman to me. And I wasn't really buying it. I mean, I believe that she believes it, but I don't feel like that the people in the house are going to identify with her. And that's what this game is all about. So I don't feel great about Christy. I feel like the thing's working for her is that she's definitely a fan of the show. And obviously having Tommy, who is a real fan of the show, is good. And they are friendly. I don't know how friends they are, but they're friendly with each other. Where they're not rivals, is what I'm trying to say. But overall, I don't have a lot of faith in her, mainly because it seems like her whole living her truth thing and being authentic to herself comes off as very unapologetic. And I don't feel like being unadaptable works well in the Big Brother house.
Okay. Melissa, any thoughts on Christy?
I liked her. She's a super fan, or at least she has watched a lot of the show. She started watching, I think, season 8. So I liked her a lot because of that. And I also felt like I liked her personality. The one thing that concerned me was she talked about wanting to play the game with like integrity, and that she would rather lose than be loved. And, that's always kind of a red flag for me. So that's why I'm a little concerned with her. But I do like the idea that she already has a potential ally in the house if everything that we're to believe is true, that they ended on good terms. I think that's the key, is like, did they end on good terms or no? Like, would he feel like he was like betraying his aunt by being nice to her? I don't know. Who knows? But all I know is that I think she'll be fun to watch, especially because that she's a fan of the show. So yeah.
Yeah. And look, they may know each other in terms of like having tagged photos, but if my aunt had a boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't know if I would like know them particularly well, that they would be my ride or die if I was on Big Brother with them.
But is family your everything?
You can trust, though. There's someone that you can trust because you know them from the outside.
I guess so.
Also, they were in pictures like together at a concert, so it wasn't like.
But they're not in a million pictures together.
But it's just like, it's not just family.
There's a lot of people that I'm in 1 or 2 pictures on the internet with.
Yeah, but it was like, I love these 2 people. They're so special. And then he responded and like, love you back. So like, I'm not buying any of that, Rob. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see, how close, that we see in these others, Survivor seasons, people know each other and they go back, and then it doesn't mean anything once the game starts. So who knows? Okay. All right. So we are down to just 2 picks. I will be the decider, and then Melissa will get whoever I don't want. Melissa, do you have a strong feeling between Jessica and Nicole?
Well, one of them No, you know what? I'm gonna wait until after you pick.
I think
You don't want to
should
say
tell him.
you don't want to say if you have a strong feeling about either one.
I
not
think you
gonna
should tell
say.
him. I feel like he'll give you the one that you want. I mean, I don't know for sure.
I don't
but
think he will. I
Oh,
do
I
not
think
way. This guy, he's cutthroat.
No, come on.
that was
He
like
wants to
old
win
Rob.
this
Yeah.
draft.
That was Rob from back in the day.
Yes.
Come on.
Okay. So I feel like of these two people, I am really excited to watch one of them on the show, but the other one I think has a chance to be the winner, and I'm not sure if the other one does. So I am going to go with Jessica for my draft team, even though I am very excited to have Nicole cast on the show. So give me
Oh boy.
Jessica.
Well, if you want to know what I was thinking, was that one of them was ranked 11 out of 16, and one of them was ranked 16 out of 16. So I was gonna say, but I knew you'd know which one was ranked 16. So I was
Okay.
like, oh.
All right. So, all right. Let's talk about Jessica, and then we'll talk about Nicole. But I feel like Jessica. She seems very nice, very fun. I thought that she got along great with both Jeff and with Ika. I thought she struggled with like saying anything like hypothetically negative about anybody. I don't know if she has the sort of like cutthroat that you would need to some degree, but look, she's here. I think she's gonna be very non-threatening. It seems like that she knows the show, and let's see what happens with Jessica.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have to say, Taran, I did not respond positively to Jessica. Again, somebody else who I'm going to stand on Twitter, but watching her in the interviews with Jeff and with Ika, it seemed to me like she was very unsure, nervous, like almost like she was still in the casting process, waiting to say, like, not wanting to say the wrong thing. I think she has some great energy, but I also do feel like that she might try to hold it in too much and also be perceived as somebody who's not willing to open up to you. I'm hoping that like maybe just getting in the house and letting it loose will just loosen her up. But from what I'm getting from her was just a big ball of nerves.
Yeah. I agree. I think that the upside for her, I think, is that she is the kind of player that might get dragged along for a while because she's just a loyal number. And then, maybe people don't respect her and they make the mistake of taking her to the end. And then the jury is bitter and they go for Jessica instead of whoever it was that took her there. But that's a kind of a narrow path. And I know it's happened a lot, but it could happen with a lot of people on the cast, not just one person in particular. So it's not super likely that any one given person is going to have it happen to them. She seemed, and I mentioned this when I was on Twitch, she seemed very people pleasy. She seemed like she was very, very just trying to, give people what they wanted. And I do like that in a player, but I didn't get any sense of like direction from her. I didn't see that she was going to be a player that is really going to be out in front and trying to make moves and or anything like that. She loved Jeff on the show because he had integrity. She liked Dan too, but he was dirty. She wants to leave the game with integrity. She won't compromise.
She's very image focused.
Yes, exactly. And so I really see her similar in the similar way that I do Jack, as somebody that's going to be a follower in the house, somebody that's going to be a number for somebody else. She says that she's 30-ish. I've gotten, this is again, rumors, unconfirmed rumors, but I've heard that 30-ish equals 38.
Yes.
And that is a little bit of an outlier in terms of age. So I don't think that's going to be great for her either.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked her in her interviews. I felt like she was bubbly and friendly. I felt like she'd be easy to get along with. I don't know if she has the gamer in her. And that makes me a little concerned, but I thought that I felt like she would fit in with people, because of her sweet personality and her friendly, bubbly personality. I mean, who knows if she was really just, kind of putting on a front for these interviews. And maybe she'll be a completely different way once she gets in the house. That we've seen that before. But I'm not sure. I do think that she's a fan of the show, which is a good sign. But it's really hard to say how she'll do, because if she's not going to actually play the game, then, what's the point? So hopefully she's there to play, and I'm excited to see it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about your pick, Melissa.
Don't call it my pick.
Well, she's on your draft team. You didn't pick her, but you picked first. So with all of that,
when Melissa is like, I won the draft with Nicole, we're gonna replay.
Yeah, I didn't pick her.
Don't call her my
Hashtag
pick.
not my pick.
From the beginning.
Nicole Anthony
From the beginning.
from
She was
Long
in my
Island.
I always had faith.
Yeah, I had faith the whole time. I'm okay. So I like that she's a fan. She's really interesting to watch. I feel like she'll be fun to watch on the feeds, but I don't see her winning. She's really out there. I could see her not fitting in. Her stories were kind of crazy, and made me really worried, for the people around her. But generally she seems like she's going to be really fun to watch. The reason why she's so low is I just don't really see a win for her. And that's what this draft is all about. So that's why she was on last on my list.
Okay. All right. Is anybody high on Nicole?
No, I can't see people voting for her at the end. I really don't think you can look at this person and say, you know what, I'm going to give my $500,000 vote to Nicole. I really don't. And the person who she goes with to the end would have to be absolutely hated by a majority of the jury.
Taran, anything positive to say about Nicole?
I mean, I think people are maybe a little lower on Nicole than maybe I am. I like that she's a big fan of the show. I think that's good for her. She is somebody who, once again, claims to be very smart, which, again, just be careful of what you claim to be.
Okay.
But she is very quirky, and she calls herself the quirky queen. But I don't mind that. I really don't. Just because she's out there doesn't mean that she can't do well in the game. I don't think she's going to fit in very well, but that's kind of okay. Players like Ian and Steve didn't fit in very well. And if she is in that sort of archetype, then I think that that's fine. Really, I think that her biggest flaw is that she just her overall the way that she tries to interact. I think, again, as Brent mentioned, like the respect factor. Can she get the same amount of respect that somebody like Ian or Steve was able to accumulate over the course of the game? And I think that that's really difficult to perceive at the moment. But I do think that she has a fair amount of upside. But it's hard to see right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that also made me mad about her interview was she didn't tell us what was in the bag. She didn't tell us. She locked her parents in the basement so they wouldn't tell her what was in the bag.
Now you know how it feels.
And then she never, I know.
You're ready to lock a parent in the basement too.
They coaxed her out with chocolate, but we never found out what was in the freaking bag.
Right. She didn't. I mean, that's the follow-up question, is you say, what was in the bag? And we never got that. So, I was not happy.
Okay. All right. And that is the Big Brother 21 draft. The players are in the house now, and the game is underway. Let me see if I can bring up the what Scott has for us. Let me see if no, that's not it. There we go. Okay. Big Brother 20. There's the full draft board. I know we've got this on Twitter. It looks like thank you to Chris D at Pup Riku on Twitter for putting this together. Thank you very much. That is what the teams look like. This is another tweet. This is from
that's not a I don't like this tweet.
Yeah. Okay. Catherine on every single episode. Okay. Then
there we go.
We have a picture of Caitlin. The universe never ceases to amaze me.
So
And
stupid.
Yes. What is Caitlin saying in this meme?
She said the universe never ceases to amaze me. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the
What is the previous one?
what that?
It says Caitlin is going to be a regular for every eviction episode. Love it. And then it says
Okay.
the universe never ceases to amaze me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I can read that.
That's one I can get behind.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Steven says live footage of it's Melissa having to make any pick in this draft, and this is like a.
And that is a gif of her drinking wine. And I think that was from the most recent episode of The Bachelorette.
Okay. All right.
We're
The
gonna
Melissa
have a
bot
record of
says,
the podcast.
who's the bigger influencer, Catherine or Frankie Grande?
Oh,
for
boy.
this season of Big Brother, I'd go with Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine has more connection.
An aspiring influencer.
Yes. Okay.
Frankie made it.
All right. And then can anybody make out what this one says?
Says Brent
Nice.
says, I don't think Holly is a catty girl. Melissa says, well, in my experience, the person that says they don't like catty girls is the one that's the cattiest.
Preach.
And then she says, me, preach.
That's Christina Aguilera. Melissa's Christina
Preach.
Aguilera in that meme. Okay. And then Alyssa says, I know next to nothing about baseball, but my favorite podcaster at Rob Cesternino is coming to MSP with his killer co-host at Kiev 26, and they're inviting the RHAP and RHAP community to the game. I guess I'm doing this. RHAP recapper, you coming out and want to talk The Bachelor with me? I guess neither here nor there for what we're talking about tonight, but yes, Rob and Keeping the podcast is coming to Minnesota coming up in July. Listen to Rob and Keeping the podcast for more information about that. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. So, Taran, can I tell you something that I want to put on my bucket list? I want to manifest this.
Yes.
I would like to, at least one day this summer, and probably early on, I would like to do the live feed update with you.
Oh, there we go.
I would like to have the experience of I want to live in your world for one day. I want to watch the live feeds for the entire day one day so that I can come on the next day and report on it. I
like it.
I won't get the full fantasy of no wife and no family, but I want to at least live vicariously like Taran for one day and be a live feed updater for one day.
I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty solid argument to Nicole to be like, hey, no, I have to
go full
to do
Taran
this.
today.
I have to only watch I have to live in the live feeds. I'm sorry, you have to take the kids out of the house.
Yes, everybody needs to leave me alone.
Only way.
I want no human interaction unless I'm on a podcast. That's it. So no, I'm not even joking. I really would like to do this. Preferably like maybe in the first a day in the first 2 weeks. I would really love that.
All right, book it.
That came to me in a vision recently. I'm like, oh, that would be fun. I would love to do that. I mean,
It's very fun, Rob. The people in the morning are fun.
no, I mean, I watch it as a viewer, but it's wish fulfillment to then beyond the live feed update.
Now we just need to get Caitlin on one of them.
Yes. Okay. Well, I don't know if she can. Her schedule. It's early for us on the West Coast.
It'll be early at
It
5
is.
a.m. 7 a.m. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. When do you do it? Like noon? I forget.
I'll have to break the bad news to Nicole, where I'm going to be podcasting one day at 8 o'clock in the morning. But we'll go with that. Okay. All right. Let's real quick talk about what's coming up here on RHAP. News AF. Me, Danny, and Tyson got back together again for the latest edition of News AF. Facebook has their own cryptocurrency. Details about Tyson's 40th birthday and more on the latest edition of News AF. The Bachelorette is just been posted with the aforementioned Amy and Haley talking about the latest week on The Bachelorette. So be sure to check that out on our RHAP feed. And then tomorrow we'll have the amazing race episode recap and exit interview coming up. I'll record that back with Mike and with Jessica Leese. Thanks again to Taran for filling in for me on the exit interview last week. So be on the lookout for all that. And of course, to get more information about everything we're doing behind the scenes at Rob's Podcast, access to our patron-only podcast feed, our Big Brother Facebook group, and much more in our patron community, head on over to robhasawebsite.com/patron. Okay, so thank you so much for that. Also, Talking with T-Bird is going to return again this week. Myself, T-Bird and a great Survivor legend from the past
Legend.
got together to talk on the latest edition of Talking with T-Bird. Be sure to check out, if you missed it, Taran had an interview with Big Brother legend Dan Giesling earlier this week.
Yes, I finally talked to Dan. 2.5 hours of Dan talking about what makes him a good Big Brother player, and also what makes him, and talking about his life and all of that stuff. So it was very fun. People have really responded well to it. So check it out, the Taran Show.
Okay.
Good job, Taz.
Yes. Then we will be back together Tuesday and Wednesday. That's going to be the schedule for the first couple of weeks here of Big Brother, as far as I understand. I think that the first eviction is going to be on Wednesday, July 3rd. No live eviction on Thursday night, July 4th. So we will have a podcast for you live after all of those episodes. Any word on when the first LFC roundtable will be?
It will be the Monday following the premiere.
Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Want to just, again, remind people, if you want to subscribe to Rob Has a Podcast, that's going to be all of the podcasts that are hosted by me at robhasawebsite.com/iTunes. For all things Big Brother, including the podcasts that are hosted by me, go to robhasawebsite.com/BB podcast for the full-on Big Brother feed, or our RHAP Ups feed for all the shows that are in the RHAP Ups feed at robhasawebsite.com/RHAP Ups. All right. Anything else?
Should we name our team
names?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's team name.
Yes. All right. Brent, did you have a team name ready to go?
Yeah, mine's easy because I have a few colorful people on my team with Nick and Jack, Holly, and Cliff. That's going to be Team Hog Wild, honey.
Hog Wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Hashtag House of Hog.
No, the chat was trying to get me to go with the Game of Thrones references and Brent the Broken. I don't feel that way about my
Brent
team.
the Broken.
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay.
Like, I'm not broken.
All right. Melissa or Taran, do you have a team name?
I do have a team name. Thanks to Andrew S in the chat. I'm going to stick with my monster theme that I've been going with, and I'm going to go with Team Kraken.
Team Kraken.
Oh,
Yeah.
What is a
I was
Kraken? Like a Loch Ness monster?
It's like the big tentacly thing, and it was in Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's not from that. It was just
Okay.
in that.
All right.
It's like an old legend.
Okay. All right. Taran, what do you got?
All right. Well, my team, I'm seeing a lot of love for my team, which is kind of rare. So I'm going to go with Team the Best Team.
Team the best team.
Very important.
Okay.
Team the best, not the best team. Team the best team.
Okay, War Dog, come on.
Okay. I need
The
some
War
help
Dog.
with my team name, so I'm gonna crowdsource it to the chat while I give out everybody's social media handles. Of course, Brent is at One Lucky Gay. Melissa is at It's Melissa with 3 A's, and Taran is at Armstrong Taran. Okay, as the chat is chastising me for Rob. Do you not know what a Kraken is? I'm sorry.
Why? When she said it, I was like, I don't know if you were like this, Rob, but I was thinking like Kraken, like you're cracking along. Like in my head, I
Like
couldn't
we're
spell it right.
cracking.
Mhm.
I'm with you now. The Kraken. Yeah.
The Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
Yes.
Release the Kraken.
I like that. Okay. So yeah, I don't really have anything off the top of my head for Tom, Sam, Jackson, Team Broadway. I see. Team Rob had a podcast. I don't know why it's
Rob
cast
has
on. Let's Team
Shade.
Trainwreck. So,
Didn't Brent already do Team Trainwreck?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just. Yes,
Yeah.
Taran.
Yeah, it might have been Jordan that did Team Trainer.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, maybe.
I'll just go with Rob has a team. That there's nothing that is uniting my 4 picks.
Now, is it Team Rob has a team?
Yes.
Or
Team Rob. Team Rob has a team. Team Rob has a team. Okay. All right.
I'm such a great namer that people are inspired by me.
Team Rob has a team.
All right. There you go. Anything else that we need to say tonight?
No,
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right. Lots of fun being back together with the gang. We have got a long summer ahead of us. I really do hope, I just want to say this here at the end of the show. I really hope that we have a fun summer. And I'm really all about just trying to enjoy Big Brother. I know it stirs up a lot of strong emotions in all of us, and I am no exception. But I think that let's just try to remember that we're here, that this is a gift to have a Big Brother season, and we should try to remember that it's just Big Brother, and we're here to have fun. And I hope that we remember it the whole way, and I hope that you guys at home remember it the whole way too. It's going to be a long 100 days, all right? So hang in there, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Thanks so much, Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes. Take